Chapter 1800. The Dragon Pool Manor made a gamble because of Yu Changkong's words. They wanted to kill Qin Wentian in a single strike, directly eliminating him. Although they would face immense pressure in the future, Yu Changkong had hinted that he would use the power of the Ziwei Divine Court, allowing them to become a subsidiary power of the Ziwei Divine Court. In that case, regardless of the Tiandao Sacred Academy or the Luotian clan, they wouldn't be able to act against the Dragon Pool Manor because of Qin Wentian's death. But now, they failed. The pressure was still there. This maiden from the Luotian clan had spoken. Qin Wentian would definitely hate them to the extreme. Their hatred would intensify, and it was unknown if Yu Changkong would still appear. They didn't expect the ending of this battle. They still couldn't kill Qin Wentian even after so many attacks. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord stared at the experts before him and knew that things couldn't be done. He waved his hand. Let's go. After speaking, the experts of the Dragon Pool Manor retreated. The assassination attempt this time around ended in failure. Qin Wentian's cold eyes stared at the departing experts of the Dragon Pool Manor. It was impossible for this matter to end like this. He had to settle this debt. Luo Shenlei's silhouette flashed as she appeared before Qin Wentian. It wasn't good for her to act too familiar with him. She calmly asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. My friend was pierced by an arrow and almost lost his life. That arrow can be considered to have pierced my body." Qin Wentian coldly spoke. From the instant that arrow was shot out, it was already destined that between him and the Dragon Pool Manor, only one side could exist in this world. There was no other possibility. The Dragon Pool Manor is in Time City. They won't be able to escape. Chao Tian coldly spoke. The Dragon Pool Manor was a hegemonic power in Time City and had resided here for generations. Just like what he said, they wouldn't be able to escape. "I'll return first. I will temporarily remember this debt." Qin Wentian spoke. Yu Huang was injured. He wanted her to rest and recuperate. "I'll go over too." Luo Shenlei spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian nodded. He knew that Luo Shenlei was worried that the Dragon Pool Manor wouldn't give up their killing intent and would act against Qin Wentian again. "We'll go too." 10 Miles Springwind and the others also expressed their stance. In the future, they were prepared to be together with Qin Wentian and guard against the Dragon Pool Manor. The matter earlier absolutely mustn't happen again. The Dragon Pool Manor was so resolute in their actions, wanting Qin Wentian's life. This was something they didn't expect. Could there be some hidden story behind this? After Qin Wentian and the others left, the surrounding experts were in an uproar and began to discuss the previous battle. There were many world overlords among them who were trapped in Qin Wentian's world heart earlier. If they were Qin Wentian's enemies, the consequences would be extremely terrifying. "I feel that the Dragon Pool Manor's actions today are too unwise. They are too impulsive and might offend a future supreme expert." A world overlord spoke in a light voice. "Yeah, how young is the Qingqing Realm Lord? He has cultivated for less than 1,000 years and is already a transcendent-level world overlord. Also, his strength has already surpassed the boundaries of transcendence. In his world heart, even transcendent-level world overlords would die. In this case, the Dragon Pool Manor would use all sorts of methods to kill the Qingqing Realm Lord. If not, when the Qingqing Realm Lord matures, that would be the doomsday of the Dragon Pool Manor. How can it be so easy? There's still the Luotian clan. Don't forget that his friend Chao Tian is someone from the Chao clan." Many people discussed. For a period of time, the news of this battle swiftly circulated around the entire time realm. Many people knew about the situation of this battle. Other than Yu Changkong being accepted as a disciple by a heavenly deity and becoming the son-in-law of the Donghuang clan, there was also the Qingqing Realm Lord. Because these two supreme characters had fought before, more and more people started to compare them. In the past, although Qin Wentian defeated Qin Wentian before, as the news of Yu Changkong being accepted as a disciple by a heavenly deity circulated out, everyone felt that Yu Changkong's future would definitely be brighter compared to Qin Wentian. Don't forget, Yu Changkong also obtained the Time King's inheritance. But now, many people didn't dare to be as sure as before. The current Yu Changkong shouldn't be able to stop time, right? Even if he obtained the Time King's favor. It was said that Qin Wentian condensed his 8th time attribute astral soul in the time realm. If not, the person who obtained the Time King's favor would most probably be him and not Yu Changkong. He was merely a step slower. His talent was much more outstanding compared to Yu Changkong. Right now in the time realm, the hottest topic was the comparison between the two of them. Their supporters were evenly matched. Some people still believed that the disciple of a heavenly deity from the Ziwei divine court, Yu Changkong, would definitely be more outstanding and would be a future monarch. There were also some who felt that the Qingqing realm lord would be indomitable and wouldn't be inferior to Yu Changkong in the future. The news of this battle naturally circulated to the Donghuang clan's palace. After Yu Changkong learned of their defeat, he felt extremely unhappy in his heart. He silently cursed the Dragon Pool Manor for being trash. They couldn't even do such a simple thing well. The more outstanding Qin Wentian's performance was, the greater the threat to him would be. Right now, he could already be certain that the Time King's words were directed at Qin Wentian. The reason why no one doubted him was because he had passed the test of the Ziwei divine court. Who would dare to doubt the judgment of a heavenly deity? However, only he understood how dangerous that test was. If Qin Wentian didn't die, he would be in danger of being exposed. As long as he killed Qin Wentian, this secret would only be known to him alone. From then on, he would be the true successor of the Time King. However, the Dragon Pool Manor actually failed. Also, Qin Wentian also displayed his talent in time. Qin Wentian must have obtained immense benefits from the Time King, right? When he thought of this, he felt extremely angry. When he thought of this, he felt extremely enraged. Naturally, he still maintained a calm expression on his face. Right now, he was hugging a beautiful maiden in his embrace, quietly enjoying the tranquil time. He has already completely conquered Donghuang Ying and the Donghuang clan. From now onwards, the Donghuang clan would become his backing. With the support of the Donghuang clan, his status in the Ziwei divine court would also be more stable. I heard that he killed an expert from the Dragon Pool Manor who was close to the hegemonic level. In his world heart, he froze time, causing the experts from the Dragon Pool Manor to have no way to resist at all. At this moment, Donghuang Ying, who was in his embrace, turned her head. Her beautiful eyes stared at Yu Changkong. In her heart, there was a faint worry. Since this man could defeat me, he naturally has his outstanding points. It's not surprising that we fought each other. Yu Changkong smiled, appearing extremely carefree, as though he didn't care at all. In any case, we are already together, why are we discussing about others? Right now, I don't wish to cultivate and don't care about worldly affairs. I only wish to be accompanied by a beautiful woman. In terms of cultivation, I will naturally not be weaker than others. Upon hearing Yu Changkong's words, the worry in Donghuang Ying's heart dissipated. A charming smile appeared in her eyes. Wasn't Yu Changkong the person she liked the most? He was always like this, exuding boundless magnificence and was filled with intense self-confidence. And now, he even loved her so much. Your words sound nice, but I wonder if you will continue to treat me like this in the future. Donghuang Ying smiled. Naturally. Yu Changkong nodded. In any case, when have I ever said nice words? Isn't that so? A mischievous look appeared on Donghuang Ying's face. Since this is the case, I will have to perform well. Yu Changkong smiled mischievously. Donghuang Ying's face instantly turned red. After that, the two of them immersed themselves in an intimate moment, like immortals enjoying their time together. But who knew what Yu Changkong was thinking about when he was enjoying his beauty? After that battle in the time realm, everything seemed to be calm and tranquil. However, everyone understood that this matter was a symbolic starting point. Right now, there was most likely a storm brewing. It was just that no one knew when it would erupt. During these days, Qin Wentian stayed in his palace and didn't step out at all. He watched as Princess Kitamura recovered from her injuries. At the same time, he was also comprehending the power he comprehended. His heavenly fate world heart grew stronger and stronger. His will was heaven's will, he could stop time and space in his world heart. Other than this, his other heaven heart mandates also gradually transformed, fusing in the time-attributed laws and growing stronger. Another 10+ years passed in the time realm. During these 10+ years, Qin Wentian didn't go find trouble with the Dragon Pool Manor. The Dragon Pool Manor wasn't an ordinary power and he wasn't the only one here. Mo Qingcheng, and his other family and friends were all here. Once a war broke out, he had no way to predict what the consequences would be. Hence, during these 10+ years, he silently cultivated until today when Luo Shenlei told him that her father has arrived in Time City. Qin Wentian immediately decided to leave the time realm. Everyone around him would leave together with him. Today, at the exit of the time realm, Qin Wentian and the others walked out and walked down the stairway. Turning his head and glancing at the stairway, Qin Wentian felt as though a lifetime had passed. Over there, he reunited with his younger sister. Over there, he received a message from the ancient godly monarch of the time realm, "I'll be waiting for you in the future." Now, he finally had to leave. The experiences during these years were extremely important to him. The convention of the myriad realms this time around would surely be an unforgettable experience for him. Elder brother, father is staying in the inn where 10 Miles Springwind is staying. Luo Shenlei transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Clearly, she knew where Qin Wentian was staying. After she told her father also decided to stay in the 10 Miles Inn. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice in reply. Just so coincidentally, 10 Miles Springwind asked, "Where are we going?" "We will return to the inn and continue to live and eat for free. You don't have any objections, right?" Qin Wentian laughed. "You can eat for as long as you want. After you eat until I'm broke, you can go to the Dragon Pool Manor for a stroll." 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Upon mentioning the Dragon Pool Manor, Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with coldness. "Let's go." Qin Wentian spoke. After that, their silhouettes flashed as they sped towards the direction of the 10 Miles Inn. Because the convention of the myriad realms was about to commence, many of the guests of the 10 Miles Inn had all headed to the time realm. Right now, the 100 years haven't passed yet and the inn was extremely quiet. However, a group of mysterious guests came to the 10 Miles Inn. Some of them seemed to be extremely powerful, giving off an unfathomable feeling. However, they were exceptionally quiet and had been staying in the inn, not going out at all. However, after so many years, the female attendants of the 10 Miles Inn had seen all sorts of guests before. She knew that these people were all major characters and naturally wouldn't disturb them. They also didn't have any strange thoughts. At this moment, a group of experts descended from the air. Many people in the inn smiled when they saw 10 Miles Springwind. The boss has returned from the time realm. Chapter 1801. After Qin Wentian returned to the inn, he first returned to his courtyard and settled everyone around him. After that, he silently left by himself and came to another courtyard. Luo Shenlei was waiting for him outside. After Qin Wentian entered, he immediately sealed this place. Her father brought people from the Luoshan clan and came to the desolate region. It was best for them to keep a low profile and not want others to know about this. In addition, Qin Wentian's identity was extremely sensitive. They mustn't let others know of their meeting. If news of this was spread to the heaven region, those major powers would easily be able to guess. Elder brother. After sealing the place, Luo Shenlei called out. Qin Wentian nodded, feeling a little nervous in his heart. He has cultivated for several hundred years and this was the first time he was going to meet with his kin. His uncle, his mother's elder brother. He was filled with anticipation. What sort of character would his uncle be? He who came from the Luoshan clan, what sort of magnificence would he have? Would he be a hegemonic level world overlord character? Or could he be even stronger? He didn't know. But very soon, he would know. Father is waiting for you in the courtyard. Let's enter. Luo Shenlei spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian nodded. He didn't release his immortal sense and followed Luo Shenlei through the long corridor, arriving at the center of the courtyard. Before them, there was a group of people casually standing there. However, all of them gave Qin Wentian an extraordinary feeling. They were all unfathomable and their strengths were definitely extremely terrifying. Elder brother. Luo Shenlei walked in front and called out. Qin Wentian stepped out together with Luo Shenlei and entered the courtyard. The environment of this courtyard was extremely elegant. There were pavilions and a small bridge over the flowing water. In the pavilion ahead, a figure could be seen quietly sitting on a chair. His gaze was currently fixed in this direction, staring at Qin Wentian who just entered. At the instant he saw this figure, Qin Wentian actually started, feeling a little disbelief. He almost thought that his eyes were playing tricks on him. It was a very weak middle-aged man with wrinkles on his face. Coupled with his head full of white hair, he looked even more lifeless. He was clearly middle-aged, but he looked like an old man without any vitality. He was different from Old Ghost. Although Old Ghost looked very old, his eyes were full of spirit, and there was energy hidden within them. However, the person in front of him seemed extremely ordinary. It could even be said that he was an ordinary person who could not cultivate and was entering old age. In this courtyard, he was the only one there. His cloudy eyes gleamed with a strange light as he stared at Qin Wentian. Evidently, this was his uncle, there was no one else. Qin Wentian had thought of many possibilities but he didn't expect his uncle to be like this. Luo Shenlei was so outstanding, her beauty was unparalleled and her talent was shocking. How could her father be like this? Why? Are you disappointed? The figure in front of him had a faint smile on her face as she looked at Qin Wentian's changing expression. Qin Wentian started. Disappointed? That wasn't the case. He wanted to see his uncle because they were related by blood and the other party had acknowledged him. This was related to his strength. It was just that he was too surprised. This was completely different from what he had imagined. Elder brother, this is my father. Luo Shenlei softly spoke. Qin Wentian stared at the figure in front of him. He adjusted his mental state and drew in a deep breath as he called out, Uncle. Okay. The other party nodded heavily. His eyes were a little red. He stood up and walked towards Qin Wentian. His footsteps were very slow and weren't very stable. When he came to the side of Qin Wentian, he stretched out his hand and touched Qin Wentian's face with his fingertips, like he wanted to see Qin Wentian clearly. His fingers were trembling slightly. Similar, they really resemble each other very much. His eyes turned even redder, like he was thinking of the past, thinking of an old friend. His younger sister, the one who grew up together with him, the one whom he doted on dearly. Qin Wentian felt a little strange and wanted to dodge. But when he thought of the fact that the other party was his uncle, his heart softened when he saw the reddened eyes of his uncle. You are too similar to your mother. Luo Shenyu's fingers trembled slightly. Although it has been many years since they last met, he could still remember that beautiful countenance. That was his younger sister and had long been imprinted in his mind. It wouldn't fade away with the passage of time. Hence, when he saw Qin Wentian, he could naturally see the shadow of his younger sister. Uncle, you also don't know where my mother is? Qin Wentian asked in a light voice. This was the thing he wanted to know the most. Your mother is so ruthless. She actually abandoned everything and vanished without a trace. Luo Shenyu's voice trembled. He stared at Qin Wentian. I heard from Layer that your parents named you Wentian. This was the name they gave me. Qin Wentian nodded. Could it be that they didn't leave any clues for you? Luo Shenyu asked. After he learned of the news of Qin Wentian's existence, he felt extremely shocked in his heart. This meant that Qin Yuanfeng didn't die. In that case, although his younger sister had been missing for many years, she might still be together with Qin Yuanfeng. No. Uncle Black, who took care of me since I was young, might know some things, but he never told me. Now, they have also vanished. Qin Wendian spoke. Uncle, what happened in the past exactly? What's going on with your cultivation base? He naturally understood that as a direct descendant of the Luotian clan, Luotian Lei's father and his mother's elder brother, it was impossible for him to be a cripple from birth. He clearly had the appearance of a middle-aged man, but his hair was completely white and his face was filled with wrinkles. He appeared extremely old and his aura was extremely weak. This was a sign that he had suffered an irreversible injury before. What happened in the past is actually very simple. Your mother and father got together, but they met with opposition. The Qin clan and Luotian clan originally had grudges between them. How could the heaven chosen of the Luotian clan be willing to marry into the Qin clan? And at that time, your father was in deep trouble and your grandfather was even more against it. The two of them actually eloped and abandoned everything, even destroying the immortal senses in their messaging crystals. However, although they left easily, the Qin clan didn't give up just like that. In order to find them, the Qin clan even came to our Luotian clan and even killed people of our Luotian clan, all for the sake of finding out the location of your parents. Luotian, you narrated the past. Although Qin Wendian knew a little, he didn't know the exact details. Right now, he was very serious as he listened to everything. Your grandfather was even more enraged and the conflict between him and the Qin clan intensified to an extremely serious extent. After that, your parents were actually found by the Qin clan. The Qin clan wanted to deal with your father, and for the sake of your mother's safety, your grandfather brought her back. Your father knew what happened between the Qin clan and the Luotian clan and also knew that the Qin clan would use unscrupulous methods to find him. In a fit of anger, he killed his way into the Qin clan and died in battle. Qin Wendian clenched his fists tightly. There were even more complicated details in the story. He spoke, my father left behind many memories for me. The Qin clan has always been searching for his whereabouts. In fact, one of his clan brothers once fought against my father. The grudge between my father and that person started when he was young. Who is he? Ha, good question. Luotian, you suddenly laughed uproariously. That person is now the leader of the Qin clan. His name is Qin Zheng. When he was young, he was nurtured by the Qin clan as the successor and is a heavens chosen of the Qin clan. Your father has always been basking in his radiance, and I also know that when your father was young, he secretly fell in love with Qin Zheng. She is a heavens chosen from the other bloodline of the Qin clan and is now Qin Zheng's wife. Both of them are in charge of the Qin clan together, and they also have a son named Qin Dangtian. His name is Heaven's Son and his name is Qin Dangtian. Heaven's Son. Qin Wendian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. His expression was extremely cold as he spoke. Back then, Qin Zheng's strength was already inferior to my father. My father once defeated him. There's only a single Qin Yuanfeng in the world. There's no need to doubt Qin Zheng's strength. As for that Heaven's Son, he inherited the talent of both his parents, surpassing even his father. What is the meaning of Heaven's Son? He was chosen by the heavens, and since he was young, he has already displayed heaven-shaking talent. I'm thinking that since he was named Qin Dangtian, his meaning is to dominate the world. As for your parents, what's the meaning behind them naming you Wendian? Both of you have the word heaven in your name. Are you two fated to be enemies? Luotian, you spoke. When my parents named me, they once said, ask the heavens, ask the earth, who will rise and fall. Hence, I was named Wendian. Qin Wendian replied. Luotian Yu's gaze froze before he laughed uproariously again, as expected of Qin Yuanfeng. What courage! One wants to dominate the world while the other wants to ask the heavens who will rise and fall. The two of you seem to be enemies since birth, destined by fate. Destined by fate, to be enemies since birth. Qin Wendian's gaze was extremely cold. The son of the despicable character who acted against his father back then was actually so powerful to this extent? Elder brother, didn't you ask why my father would do this? At this moment, Luo Shenlei, who was at the side, suddenly interjected. Qin Wentian glanced at her, only to see that Luo Shenlei's eyes were red. It was like she didn't expect this to be the case, causing her to feel incomparably sad. Did Qin Wentian know that this useless cripple standing in front of him was once the Sky Order heavenly deity whose name shook the world? He was the future leader of the Luotian clan. However, after that battle, everything turned into nothingness. Her father had to endure the disdainful looks of countless people. She didn't expect this to happen. She felt an unbearable pain in her heart. Why? Qin Wentian saw Luo Shenlei's reaction. Could it be that there was more to this than meets the eye? Once, he represented the Sky Order heavenly deity of the Luotian clan and went to the Qin clan to seek justice for your parents. He wanted to challenge Qin Zheng, and coincidentally, the heaven's son that father spoke of, Qin Dangtian, broke through to the heavenly deity realm. He represented his father to fight, and his first battle was against the Sky Order heavenly deity. He defeated him and crippled his cultivation, causing his name to resound through the world. Luo Shenlei clenched her fists tightly as tears flowed down her face. Qin Dangtian represented her father to fight and crippled her father's cultivation, causing his name to resound through the world. But what about her? What could she do? Qin Dangtian could easily crush her to death with a single finger. The Heaven Sun trampled on her father's body and became famous throughout the world. Chapter 1802. Kacha. When Qin Wentian heard Luo Shenlei's words, he abruptly clenched his fists, causing a crisp sound to ring out. A terrifying coldness gushed forth from him as his eyes that were as deep as the stars grew even colder to the extreme. His uncle's cultivation was crippled, causing him to end up like this. It was actually because he wanted to seek justice for his parents. And the person who crippled his uncle was the son of that despicable character from the Qin clan. Back then, in his memories, his father treated him like an elder brother and never had the heart to compete with him. In fact, he even left the Qin clan, and when he found his father treated him with respect. However, Qin Zheng challenged his father, and after being forced back, he still wasn't willing to give up and wanted to kill his father. His father's first life was seized by him, and now, he became the king of the Qin clan, controlling the heavenly deity race. His son was also a heavenly deity now, crippling his uncle's cultivation. This hatred could truly be said to be irreconcilable. Uncle, my parents have implicated you. Qin Wentian felt some guilt. A heavenly deity had his cultivation crippled. How much pain was this? This was simply unimaginable. This middle-aged man with white hair and a face full of wrinkles, how glorious was he once? He was the Sky Order heavenly deity, the successor of the Luotian clan. He simply couldn't imagine the disparity between them and the disdain of others. No wonder Luo Shenlei would cry. Most probably, she understood her father's pain the most. It has already been many years, I'm already used to it. Luo Shenyu smiled. I'm already very happy to be able to receive news of you and even see you personally. Wentian, growing up from an orphan to where you are today, this path must have been very difficult, right? Now, you still have to face such a huge grudge. It must have been tough on you. He understood that this young man before him was the son of Qin Yuanfeng and his younger sister. One was the most outstanding character in the Qin clan back then, having once defeated Qin Zheng, the leader of the Qin clan. The other was a heaven chosen of the Luotian clan. How could the son of the two of them be weaker than the son of Qin Zheng and his younger sister? So what if Qin Wentian was the heaven's son? How could he not hear of Qin Wentian's name and ask the heavens and earth who was the ruler of this world? Precisely because of this, Qin Wentian had to shoulder all the hatred on his shoulders no matter what. This was his responsibility, his mission. This was why he said that Qin Wentian and Qin Dangtian were destined to be enemies. Compared to everything my father endured in the past, what can this count for? In the future, I will definitely slaughter my way into the Qin clan. A debt of blood must be repaid with blood. Everything they owe me, I have to pay them back. Qin Wentian's countenance was ice cold. Whatever the Qin clan owed his father, he would definitely pay it back. Qin Dangtian fought in place of his father. In that case, Qin Wentian naturally wanted to take revenge for his father. Fine, it's just that right now, you are still growing and it's not suitable for you to be exposed. They have no idea of your existence. If the Qin clan knew that Qin Yuanfeng has a son, Qin Zhen would definitely spare no expense to kill you. Given how powerful the Qin clan is now, it's very difficult for anyone to protect you. Layer told me about your whereabouts and I came here secretly. Other than me and Layer, no one else knows of your existence. I didn't even tell your maternal grandfather about this. Luo Xinyu spoke. He knew how serious this matter was. Qin Wentian was the son of Qin Yuanfeng and his younger sister. Now, he had grown so outstanding and his name resounded through Time City. Layer said that he had already displayed a magnificence through the generations in the Time Realm. If this was known by the Qin clan, they would definitely kill him. Don't reveal your bloodline so easily. Others might know about it. As for your surname, it's not important. There are so many people in the world with the surname Qin. Luo Xinyu reminded. Uncle, I once encountered a death calamity and my body shattered. Luckily, I had a miraculous encounter and survived. Right now, I don't have any bloodline power in me. Qin Wentian spoke. Luo Xinyu started. He felt at ease in his heart but also a little disappointed. That was the bloodline power of Qin Yuanfeng and the Luotian clan. Although it's a little regretful, this is also good. Even if your talent is noticed by the Qin clan, as long as you don't have any bloodline power, no one would suspect you. Luo Xinyu nodded. Uncle, don't worry. If I want my bloodline power, I can make it return to me at any time. Qin Wentian spoke again, his words causing Luo Xinyu's eyes to freeze. He stared at Qin Wentian's clear eyes as he smiled and nodded. If that's the case, it would naturally be very perfect. As for the exact reason, he didn't ask. Qin Wentian's words were already sufficient. Uncle, if grandfather knew of my existence, what would his attitude be? Qin Wentian asked. His grandfather was his mother's father. They were also related by blood. He really wanted to know how his grandfather would view his existence. Although grandfather objected to your parents being together back then, it was because he loved your mother deeply. There was also the pressure from the clan. Right now, everything has already passed. Although your grandfather doesn't say it, he misses your mother dearly. I once saw him staring at your mother's portrait in a daze. Who doesn't love their own daughter? Luo Xinyu slowly spoke. If your grandfather knew that your mother has you, he would definitely want to see you just like me. It's just that the Luotian clan has experienced many things during these years. Your grandfather's authority in the clan has weakened greatly. Right now, the Luotian clan isn't united. Hence, I didn't tell your grandfather because I didn't want the Luotian clan to know of your existence. When the time is right, I'll bring you to the Luotian clan and let your grandfather meet you. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. Seems like the Luotian clan was greatly affected because of the matter regarding his parents. His uncle was once the successor of the Luotian clan. In that case, his grandfather's status in the clan would surely be extremely high. Back then, his mother's status was also transcendent. No wonder the Luotian clan didn't agree. Father, in the Time Realm, someone wanted to kill elder brother. Also, if it wasn't for elder brother gaining a sudden insight and causing time to freeze, he most probably would have died. At this moment, Luo Xinlei suddenly spoke. When Luo Xinyu heard this, he frowned. His turbid eyes gleamed with sharpness. His dispirited body actually exuded a hint of imposingness. Although his cultivation base was crippled, he was still a heavenly deity. His imposingness was ingrained into his bones. Who? Luo Xinyu asked. The Dragon Pool Manor in Time City. I once warned them but they still made preparations in the dark, wanting to kill me in a single strike. Luo Xinlei's voice was cold. I will depart today. After I leave, I will get Lifeless to stay behind and follow you. As for the matters in the future, I will leave them to you and Wentian to handle. Luo Xinyu spoke. Although he came here in secret, he was still the Sky Order heavenly deity of the Luotian clan. Even though his cultivation base was crippled now, if someone saw him, they would surely be able to guess his purpose for coming to the mystic region. Hence, he needed to leave as soon as possible. This was especially so when he still needed Lifeless to stay behind. He mustn't stay here any longer. If Grandpa Lifeless is here, there naturally won't be a problem. Luo Xinlei nodded. She was Luo Xinyu's daughter, how could she not know what sort of existence Lifeless was? Lifeless was more than sufficient to deal with the Dragon Pool Manor. Uncle is leaving just like that? Qin Wentian's gaze froze as he stared at the middle-aged man before him. This middle-aged man traversed the boundless territories, from the Luotian clan of the desolate region to the mystic region. He only met with him once before he left. Child, I'm very happy to see you. In the future, I only hope that you will be able to live well. Although a cripple like me can't help you too much, if you encounter any difficulties, you must remember to look for me. I will do my best to help you. Luo Xinyu took out his messaging crystal. Qin Wentian naturally understood his intentions. He left his immortal sense behind and also took out his own messaging crystal. In the future, the two of them would be able to communicate through space. Alright, I'm leaving now. I'm filled with anticipation for the day you come to the Luotian clan. Naturally, I'm filled with even more anticipation for the day you can step into the Qin clan of the Heaven region and change the sky. Luo Xinyu had too much anticipation for Qin Wentian. There was no other reason other than because Qin Wentian was the son of Qin Yuanfeng and his younger sister. I will definitely. Qin Wentian clenched his fists tightly. Luo Xinyu laughed uproariously. After that, he informed the people who came and under the protection of the experts, he actually stealthily left the 10 Miles Inn. He only stayed here for a short period of time before hurriedly departing as though he had never been here before. Qin Wentian stood in the courtyard in a daze. His heart was exceptionally heavy. He knew the anticipation his uncle had for him. When he looked at him in the eyes of his uncle, it was like he saw hope, the hope of getting justice for his parents. For this matter, he didn't manage to accomplish it when he was the Sky Order heavenly deity. It was also very difficult for his grandfather to accomplish it. Everything depended on him because he was their son. Responsibility, mission. Heaven's son, destined to be enemies from birth. Qin Zheng, the king of the Qin clan. All of this was waiting for him. Mississippi, at this moment, an old man suddenly appeared here, standing beside Luo Xinlei. Grandpa Lifeless. Luo Xinlei politely called out to this old man, filled with respect. From this, one could tell that this old man's status was extraordinary. He was truly extraordinary. From the time the Sky Order heavenly deity was young, he had been protecting him. It was unknown how many years have passed since then. After the Sky Order heavenly deity was crippled, some of the old men all left. However, Lifeless didn't say anything and remained loyal, protecting her father. Despite the fact that the person he was protecting was a cripple who had no future. Although Lifeless and her father were master and servant in name, their relationship was like that of father and son. He treated her father as a relative and was one of the people her father trusted the most. Master said that Miss needs me to do something. The old man spoke. Grandpa Lifeless, you should rest first. If there's a need, I will look for you. Luo Xinlei spoke. Okay. The old man nodded. After that, he directly vanished from sight. After he left, Luo Xinlei spoke to Qin Wentian, elder brother, how should we deal with the matter of the Dragon Pool Manor? Given Grandpa Lifeless' cultivation base, he alone is sufficient to destroy the Dragon Pool Manor. She was the one who took the initiative to raise this matter to her father. Even if Qin Wentian didn't say it, she wouldn't spare the Dragon Pool Manor. She once said that she would remember what happened that day and also told the Dragon Pool Manor not to forget it. She hoped that the Dragon Pool Manor would still remember her words. Chapter 1803. The Dragon Pool Manor was located in Time City. The size of this manor was incomparably vast, comparable to the size of Azure Mystic. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, there were many powerful clans that have existed for countless years. Many of them had millions of members and were like clans or empires. The Dragon Pool Manor was extremely flourishing. There were many branches within the manor and there were also experts guarding the entrance. At this moment, the Dragon Pool Manor was as lively as before. In a training ground, many disciples were currently listening to the Tao lectures of world overlords. These world overlords were worshipped by the Dragon Pool Manor and there were also people from the Dragon Pool clan. However, their statuses weren't considered high. Right now, the true core members of the Dragon Pool Manor were still in the time realm and had yet to return. The sky was clear, there were no clouds in the 10,000 miles. Sunlight cascaded down on the manor. At this moment, a powerful immortal sense descended upon the Dragon Pool Manor, spreading out unceasingly, enveloping more and more experts. At this moment, the expressions of many changed. The eyes of the guard gleamed with sharpness as he asked, "I wonder which senior has arrived." The world overlord who was currently lecturing to the disciples of the Dragon Pool Manor suddenly had a cold light flash in his eyes. "Which Tao friend's immortal sense descended upon my Dragon Pool Manor?" In the air, a stifling pressure suddenly gushed forth, locking onto the Dragon Pool Manor. After that, the people of the Dragon Pool Manor saw a figure in white, exuding magnificence through the generations. He stood arrogantly in the air with a bow in his hands, exuding a heaven-shaking might that descended from the sky. The expressions of many experts from the Dragon Pool Manor drastically changed. When they saw the bow, their countenances turned as pale as paper. World-breaking bow, how can this be possible? Why would the world-breaking bow be in the hands of an outsider? A world overlord turned pale. This was a supreme treasure of their Dragon Pool Manor and was extremely powerful. It had always been controlled by the core members of the Dragon Pool Manor. But now, it appeared in the hands of the white-robed young man in the air. Also, the world-breaking bow was pointed directly at their Dragon Pool Manor. "He is the Qingqing Realm Lord." Someone exclaimed in shock, recognizing Qin Wentian. Back then, the Dragon Pool Manor had a grudge with Qin Wentian. It wasn't strange for there to be people who recognized Qin Wentian. Panic, chaos. That overwhelming pressure bore down, enveloping the entire Dragon Pool Manor. No one knew where the arrow would be shot to. But no matter where it was shot to, it would be a calamity for the Dragon Pool Manor. Buzz. The white-robed figure in the air didn't say anything. He directly shot out the world-breaking bow in his hand. A resplendent arrow light shot through the air, shooting towards the place where the world overlords were speaking about the Tao. The world overlords there all had pale expressions, all of them released their world hearts and heaven heart mandates. However, the world-breaking bow penetrated through everything, ignoring the power of heaven heart mandates and directly pierced through the body of a world overlord. The terrifying destructive might radiating from the bow was like a world-destroying tempest that ravaged the surroundings. Many people in the surroundings who were listening to the Tao lecture were met with a calamity. In an instant, screams of misery rang out. The Dragon Pool Manor was in a state of panic. Someone was using a treasure of their Dragon Pool Manor, the world-breaking bow, to deal with them. "Sir, let's talk things through." A world overlord soared into the air and spoke to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian used the power of his heaven heart mandate to condense the arrow. He knocked it on the bowstring and a beam of light shot out. That world overlord who spoke directly transformed into white light and vanished into thin air. His voice was still echoing in the air but his person had already disappeared forever. "When the Dragon Pool Manor used this bow to kill me, didn't you speak nicely to me?" A cold voice rang out from the sky. Although the sun was shining brightly, the people of the Dragon Pool Manor felt a chill down their spines. The Dragon Pool Manor had once used this bow to kill him. However, it was clear that they didn't manage to kill him. In addition, this bow was now in the hands of the other party. Now, the other party came for revenge. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, another arrow shot out, piercing through the air. A world overlord wanted to flee, but how could he do so? The arrow locked onto him and directly killed him. There was no way for him to escape. Below, many people were caught in the crossfire and were killed as well. No! Someone screamed in terror and rage. Qin Wentian's arrows continued to shoot out. Each arrow killed a world overlord, wanting to annihilate the world overlords of the Dragon Pool Manor. At the same time, many experts of the Dragon Pool Manor would die together with him. If it was merely because of the grudge between him and the Heaven Immortal Tower back then, Qin Wentian wouldn't have done this. However, the Dragon Pool Manor didn't care about the rules. In the Time Realm, in order to hunt him down, they first acted against Nanfeng Yaoyue and Jun Mengchen. After he appeared, they directly shot an arrow at him. At that time, did the Dragon Pool Manor show any mercy? That arrow almost killed Princess Kitamura. If it wasn't for him comprehending at the crucial moment, there would no longer be a Princess Kitamura now. Even now, when he thought of it, Qin Wentian felt a lingering fear. That arrow not only killed Yu Huang, it could also kill him. Next, it would be Jun Mengchen, Nanfeng Yaoyue, and the others. When the Dragon Pool Manor shot out that arrow, it was already destined that between him and the Dragon Pool Manor, only one side could exist. The arrow transformed into destructive beams of light that ravaged the Dragon Pool Manor. More and more experts died as the palaces collapsed. The Dragon Pool Manor was in a state of complete panic. Many people had looks of despair on their faces, feeling an intense hatred for the people of the Dragon Pool Manor in the Time Realm. How could they allow the Dragon Pool Manor to fall into such a dangerous situation? Many people took out messaging crystals and contacted the experts of the Dragon Pool Manor in the Time Realm. There were even some who directly contacted the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In the Time Realm, the Dragon Pool Manor already received the news. Qin Wentian and his group had already left the Time Realm unknowingly. Although the Dragon Pool Manor Lord hoped that they could stay for a period of time, he still prepared to move out. He was somewhat worried that Qin Wentian would act against the Dragon Pool Manor after he left. The experts of the Dragon Pool Manor were all in the Time Realm. Right now, there weren't many experts guarding the manor. However, because the Time Realm was the Dragon Pool Manor, no one dared to act against them. If someone really dared to act against the Dragon Pool Manor, it would be useless even if they were here. But all these were in the past. Qin Wentian was an exception. Although there were no movements from him for many years, who knew if he would go crazy or not? Manor Lord, someone killed his way into the manor. Grandpa, the Qingqing Realm Lord is wielding the world-breaking bow and is currently massacring everyone in the manor. Great-grandpa, save me. Numerous panicked voices rang out in the mind of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. At this moment, he felt like he was struck by lightning as his body trembled violently. Qin Wentian wielded the world-breaking bow and directly killed his way into the Dragon Pool Manor. Not only for him, many of the world overlords who came with him to the Time Realm also received the message from their juniors. At this moment, in the palace where the Dragon Pool Manor was located, numerous figures soared up into the air. Arg! Someone screamed in terror, abandoning everything as he sped towards the exit of the Time Realm. In fact, he didn't even have the time to care if the Manor Lord had given the order or not. My son is still in the manor. A world overlord roared. Everyone from the Dragon Pool Manor, return to the manor immediately and kill the traitors. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord felt his entire body turning cold. With a loud roar, he soared up into the air and sped towards the exit of the Time Realm. He just received the news not long ago and Qin Wentian actually directly launched a massacre to take revenge. This meant that Qin Wentian directly acted against his Dragon Pool Manor not long after he exited the Time Realm. Vile beast! The pressure radiating from the Dragon Pool Manor Lord rumbled as the flames of his rage seethed in the air. Many experts in the Time Realm felt shock in their hearts when they saw this scene. Seems like something major must have happened. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord took out his messaging crystal and spoke to one of his subordinates, tell him to stop immediately. If not, I will definitely annihilate the entire Qingqing realm after I exit. Qin Wentian was the overlord of a realm. Since his title was the Qingqing Realm Lord, his territory was naturally the Qingqing Realm. Outside, in the Dragon Pool Manor, someone shouted, "Qingqing Realm Lord, if you still don't stop, my Dragon Pool Manor Lord will annihilate the entire Qingqing realm." An extremely cold light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. Another arrow shot towards the person who spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the entire palace he resided in was destroyed. The people in the surroundings all died. Upon seeing this scene, no one dared to threaten Qin Wentian anymore. That would simply be courting death. They could only pray that the Manor Lord would return soon. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord soon learned of the situation here. He roared in rage again, "Qin Wentian, if I don't annihilate your entire clan, I swear I'm not human." Upon hearing this voice, the hearts of many trembled violently. Seems like that supreme young man who comprehended the ability to stop time had already started to take revenge on the Dragon Pool Manor after he exited the Dragon Pool Manor. Right now, there was no one in the Dragon Pool Manor who could stop his slaughter. Should we go out to spectate the battle? Many people were thinking that this storm would surely cause a huge commotion. It has been a very long time since such a major incident occurred in Time City. Many people hesitated for a moment before they decided to leave the Time Realm to take a look. However, no one sympathized with the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. This was merely him reaping what he sowed. Back then, the Dragon Pool Manor didn't abide by the rules and directly lured Qin Wentian to death. They first targeted the relatives of Qin Wentian and even shot an arrow through Princess Kitamura. How could this be possible? If they were Qin Wentian, they would also take revenge in a frenzy. Now, it all depended on who was stronger. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord didn't keep his messaging crystal. At the same time, he was seeking help from the other major powers in the Time Realm, sending experts to stop Qin Wentian. Other than that, he contacted Yu Changkong's immortal sense and spoke, "Young Master Yu, Qin Wentian is currently taking revenge on my Dragon Pool Manor, causing a massacre in our territory." When the Dragon Pool Manor Lord spoke, hatred could be seen in his heart. In truth, the fuse for all of this was Yu Changkong. If it wasn't for Yu Changkong's hint, although he might still act against Qin Wentian, he wouldn't have used such a drastic method to completely infuriate Qin Wentian. This was the reason why there was such a bitter ending today. Even if he dismembered Qin Wentian into 1,000,000 pieces, who would compensate the Dragon Pool Manor for their losses? No matter what, he had to tell Yu Changkong about this matter. He wanted Yu Changkong to know what price his Dragon Pool Manor had to pay because of a single sentence he said. After Yu Changkong heard the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's words, he coldly laughed. Shedding all pretense of cordiality. That's good. Let's fight crazily then. In the palace the Donghuang clan was in, everyone moved. They received the order and were preparing to exit the Time Realm. The experts of the various powers in the Time Realm all moved, rushing towards the exit, preparing to witness a storm. Chapter 1804. The Dragon Pool Manor sank into a state of endless panic. The slaughter didn't stop. Qin Wentian only hunted experts. With the world-breaking bow, he could kill with a single arrow. World overlords would die for sure, Empyreans would also be killed. As for those at the Immortal Emperor realm and above, there was no mercy. Clearly, what the Dragon Pool Manor Lord did in the Time Realm back then had agitated him. Princess Kitamura almost died, Jun Mengchen, Little Rascal, Purgatory, Nanfeng Yaoyue and the others were almost killed as well. This hatred couldn't be resolved. One side would die for sure. Although many people in the Dragon Pool Manor didn't participate in the plan to kill him, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord represented the Dragon Pool Manor's attitude. With a single command from the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, who would show mercy to him, Qin Wentian. He didn't forget Long Yuan Haoyu, he didn't forget the coldness of that world overlord when he shot out the world-breaking bow. If he was the weaker party and the Dragon Pool Manor Lord gave the order to kill him, none of the people in the Dragon Pool Manor would show mercy. But even so, he still left some leeway and only killed experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above. The existence of these people would threaten the Qingqing realm. Stop! At this moment, a thunderous roar rang out in the air. The slaughter here had long attracted the attention of Time City. Right now, the news circulated rapidly, causing a commotion in Time City. Experts from all directions all rushed over here. There was actually someone who acted against the Dragon Pool Manor. The powerful Dragon Pool Manor of Time City was currently facing a calamity. As for the person who spoke, he was from a major power that had a good relationship with the Dragon Pool Manor. Both parties were related by marriage and was also a major power in the Time Realm. Coincidentally, there were also extremely powerful experts in their clan. Hence, this person rushed over here to berate Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's movements halted. His gaze was like ice as he stared at the person who came. This is a grudge between me and the Dragon Pool Manor. You're simply a lunatic to kill like this. That expert roared in anger as a cold intent radiated from him. Qin Wentian stared at him as he coldly spoke, ridiculous to the extreme. When the Dragon Pool Manor gave the order to capture me and my friends with a treasure, where were you? When Long Yuan Hao Yu ordered people to capture my wife, where were you? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord gave the order to kill me, using my kin as bait to deal with them. When the world-breaking bow shot through the body of my kin, where were you? Qin Wentian asked in a loud voice, his tone as cold as ever. In your eyes, do you think that just because the Dragon Pool Manor is powerful enough to disregard my life? Do you think that it's only natural for them to disregard the lives of my loved ones? Who asked me to antagonize the Dragon Pool Manor? However, my revenge means that I've gone mad. Should I wash my neck clean and wait for the Dragon Pool Manor to slay me? When everyone heard Qin Wentian's words, their countenances changed. How could there be logic in this world? It was just like what Qin Wentian had said. When the Dragon Pool Manor wanted to kill him, who would speak up for him? How could they not allow revenge? Since there's already a death grudge between us, there's no need to rest until one of us is dead. We are mortal enemies. Even your Dragon Pool Manor wants my life, why are you still talking about benevolence and morality? Scram! Whoever dares to interfere in the matters between me and the Dragon Pool Manor will be my enemy. I will kill you all without mercy. Qin Wentian lifted the world-breaking bow as killing intent gushed forth from him. There were countless people from the Dragon Pool Manor below. All of them felt incomparable hatred in their hearts. Since the Manor Lord had offended such a character, why didn't the Dragon Pool Manor eliminate the roots of the weeds? People from the Wood Manor, right? You guys better not be implicated in this matter. You guys won't be able to bear the consequences. A cold voice rang out. The eyes of the experts from the Wood Manor flashed as they glanced in the direction of the person who spoke. They only saw 10 Miles Springwind, Chao Tian, and the others standing there. He was acquainted with these people and his expression stiffened. Either you step out and fight or scram. My brother has already shown mercy. If not, your entire Dragon Pool Manor would already be littered with corpses. Chao Tian coldly spoke. From his point of view, Qin Wentian only shot his arrows at experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above. This was definitely showing mercy. If Qin Wentian saw the woman beside him being pierced by an arrow, he would definitely slaughter everyone in the Dragon Pool Manor. Such a life and death grudge naturally had to end with one side being annihilated. The experts from the Wood Manor were speechless. What did the Dragon Pool Manor Lord do exactly? Why did he force the Qingqing Realm Lord into such a corner? This fellow actually left behind traces when he did things, causing such a calamity to befall them. Now, how could he interfere? If he was implicated, 10 Miles Springwind, Chao Tian, and the others were here as well. If he couldn't kill these people, what would happen if a similar storm appeared in the future? But if he didn't stop them, the relationship between the Dragon Pool Manor and the Wood Manor would most probably break apart. Qin Wentian continued his slaughter, destroying all experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above. Screams of misery rang out unceasingly. The vast Dragon Pool Manor was in a state of chaos. Close to half of the buildings in the manor were destroyed. The Dragon Pool Manor, which had been flourishing for a long time, had never encountered such a calamity before. And today's calamity was all caused by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's decision. Or more accurately, it was caused by Long Yuan Haoyu's arrogance back then. He didn't handle the matter between Qin Wentian and the Heaven Immortal Tower well. If not, everything that happened later on wouldn't have happened. As for why he didn't handle it well, it was naturally because of Long Yuan Haoyu's status. He basically looked down on Qin Wentian. When the Dragon Pool Manor Lord brought his people over, the Dragon Pool Manor was already in ruins. In the vast manor, all the experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above actually no longer existed. World overlords were all killed, all of them had died. The Dragon Pool Manor was completely broken. Only some of the juniors and the upper echelons of the Dragon Pool Manor remained. And all of this was done by the white-robed young man who was still hovering in the air above the Dragon Pool Manor. He actually still dared to stay here. Arg! The Dragon Pool Manor Lord let out a terrifying roar of rage. His eyes were cold to the extreme as he stared at Qin Wentian. A violent killing intent radiated from him, permeating through the void. No matter where one was, they wouldn't be able to escape from his killing intent. He was enraged, completely enraged. Qin Wentian, I want to kill your entire family, annihilate your entire clan, and destroy your Qingqing realm. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord roared in rage. His rage caused him to forget everything, he was no longer calm. When you gave the order to deal with my family and friends, using the world-breaking bow to kill me, did you not consider the consequences? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Die! The Dragon Pool Manor Lord roared as he released his world heart. However, at the instant he released his energy, another surge of energy manifested in the void. This surge of energy enveloped the entire space, enveloping everyone within it. Naturally, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord was included as well. But when this surge of pressure bore down, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's expression turned extremely ugly to behold. He stared at Qin Wentian. Who is the one standing behind you? Why did you do such a crazy thing? In the air, a group of figures suddenly appeared. Luo Xunlei was right there. Behind her, there were two old men protecting her. Luotian clan. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord turned pale. Did the Luotian clan interfere in this matter? Back then, after you ordered someone to shoot that arrow, I once told you to remember what you did and never forget it. Do you still remember it now? Luo Xunlei spoke. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor initially saw hope when they saw the Manor Lord. But at this moment, they sensed that the Manor Lord's aura was leaking out. He no longer had that towering rage earlier, nor was he as confident as before. This was all because of the appearance of this young woman. In that case, who was that supreme beauty in the air? Why does the Luotian clan want to interfere in the matters of my mystic region? My Dragon Pool Manor can be considered a major power in Time City of the mystic region. Yet, the Luotian clan is bullying us too much. Do you think there's no one capable in the mystic region? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord coldly spoke, escalating the matter to a matter between the mystic region and the Luotian clan, giving the Luotian clan pressure. I once warned you that this man has a friendship with me and told your Dragon Pool Manor not to touch him. However, you seem to have ignored my words. How can the prestige of my Luotian clan be trampled by your Dragon Pool Manor? There's no need for you to bring out the mystic region. This matter is between you and me, it has nothing to do with the mystic region or the desolate region. Your Dragon Pool Manor is an ant-like power, yet you want to represent the mystic region? Luo Xunlei coldly spoke. Such an arrogant tone coming from the mouth of a young beauty didn't cause anyone to feel that it was inappropriate. Because, from their conversation, the crowd learned that she came from the Luotian clan. The Luotian clan actually participated in this storm. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord ignored the words of the Luotian clan and wanted to kill Qin Wentian. The Luotian clan felt that their prestige was trampled and wanted revenge. Hence, they sent the Qingqing realm lord here to kill Qin Wentian. The experts from the Wood Manor felt their hearts pounding violently. Luckily, they weren't implicated. They were almost harmed by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, but the Luotian clan actually didn't mention the Luotian clan. If they were implicated, the consequences would be unimaginable. Who are you to the Luotian clan? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. He stared at Luo Shenlei as he asked. This young woman's status in the Luotian clan might be extraordinary. The two old men beside her were both extraordinary as well. This was especially so for the old man who exuded pressure with his eyes closed. He was definitely a supremely terrifying character. Luo Shenlei of the Luotian clan came to the Mystic region to search for an item and obtain the help of the Qingqing Realm Lord. Luo Shenlei calmly spoke. Everyone memorized this name, but they didn't know of Luo Shenlei's exact identity. After all, her name wasn't famous enough to spread to the Mystic region yet. Luo Shenlei's words made it sound like she was the mastermind behind everything today. Because, the might of the Luotian clan couldn't be blasphemed. What do you want to do? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord asked. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor felt despair when they heard this. Their manor lord had arrived and rushed back. However, leaving aside revenge, it seemed like he couldn't even protect himself. He didn't dare to move easily and asked the other party what he wanted to do. Clearly, he didn't have the confidence to do so. The manor lord, why did he have to antagonize such a powerful character? Since the people of the Time Realm ignored my words, all of you can commit suicide. I'll allow the Dragon Pool Manor to continue existing. This matter shall end here. Luo Shenlei calmly spoke. How tyrannical was her voice. She wanted these peak characters of the Dragon Pool Manor, including the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, to commit suicide. What arrogant words. When did the desolate region become so imposing in our mystic region? A cold laugh rang out. The other major powers of the Time Realm had already arrived. The Donghuang clan and Yu Changkong were the first to arrive, and this voice was naturally spoken by none other than Yu Changkong. Chapter 1805. Qin Wentian and Luo Shenlei turned their gazes to Yu Changkong. Qin Wentian's loathing for Yu Changkong grew increasingly intense. Not only was Yu Changkong shameless, he was also like a ghost that refused to disperse. Right now, Yu Changkong wanted to interfere in the matter between him and the Dragon Pool Manor. Naturally, Qin Wentian still didn't know that back then, the Dragon Pool Manor acted against him because of Yu Changkong's hints. I've never said that I represent the desolate region. It's just that the Dragon Pool Manor disregarded my Luotian clan and they naturally have to pay the price. As for you, although you are now a heavenly deity, you are merely a newly joined disciple. You don't have the qualifications to speak and yet you want to represent the mystic region? You aren't qualified yet. Luo Shenlei coldly mocked. How imposing. Right now, he is a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court, how is he not qualified? Although you are someone from the Luotian clan, don't forget that you are merely someone who lost to him. Dong Huangying, who was beside Yu Changkong, spoke. You haven't married him yet and you are already speaking on his behalf. Chao Tian glanced at Dong Huangying. The Donghuang clan is truly getting more and more incompetent. Chao Tian, you are someone who doesn't even dare to return to your clan. Just shut up. An expert from the Donghuang clan spoke. The Eastern Royal Immortal Realms and Scarlet Sun Immortal Realms were roughly equal in strength and both of them belonged to different camps. The Donghuang clan was a subordinate of the Ziwei Divine Court while the Scarlet Sun Immortal Realms was a subordinate of the Great Devil Divine Palace. Although both sides were familiar with each other, there was also a competitive relationship between them. Hee hee. Chao Tian coldly laughed. Your Donghuang clan should properly discipline your descendants. You are so proud of yourself for defeating a maiden who just broke through to the immortal realms. In that case, Yu Changkong has cultivated for a longer period of time compared to Qin Wentian and was still defeated. Don't slap your own face. Back then, the Dragon Pool Manor wanted to kill Qin Wentian. This is the Mystic Region's Time City, not the Eastern Emperor Immortal Domain. The Qingqing Realm Lord naturally can take revenge. If he can destroy the Dragon Pool Manor, I definitely won't say anything. This is a personal grudge between them. However, the Luotian clan is a hegemonic power of the desolate region, it's impossible for them to interfere. After all, this place is the mystic region. If a hegemonic power of the desolate region destroyed a hegemonic power of my mystic region, where do they place the three hegemonic powers of the mystic region? As a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court, I naturally can't ignore this. No matter what, you, Chao Tian, can be considered a member of the Chao clan, a vassal force of the mystic region, the Great Devil Divine Palace. He was happy to see the war between the Dragon Pool Manor and Qin Wentian. It would be best if the Dragon Pool Manor killed Qin Wentian. But if the Luotian clan interfered, the Dragon Pool Manor would only be destroyed. This was something he didn't wish to see. In addition, if the Dragon Pool Manor was destroyed like this, who knew if the Dragon Pool Manor Lord would betray him and bite him? Hence, he had to express his stance. Stop mentioning the Ziwei Divine Court every time you open your mouth. You are just a new disciple, you can't represent the Ziwei Divine Court yet. Chao Tian mocked. This Yu Changkong was simply shameless, his skin was extremely thick. Since he is a disciple of my Ziwei Divine Court, he naturally has the qualifications to speak for the Ziwei Divine Court. At this moment, a voice rang out in the air. A hegemonic old man appeared. His aura was transcendent and extremely powerful. When Yu Changkong saw him, he immediately called out, "Martial Uncle." As the sound of his voice faded, many world overlords in the surroundings felt shock in their hearts. Right now, Yu Changkong has already become a disciple of a heavenly deity of the Ziwei Divine Court. This old man was his martial uncle, which meant that he was the junior apprentice brother of a heavenly deity. In the Ziwei Divine Court, he most probably had an extraordinary status. Qin Wentian frowned. He didn't expect that even people from the Ziwei Divine Court would appear today, wanting to stop them from acting against the Dragon Pool Manor. But to him, the Dragon Pool Manor was something he had to get rid of. If he didn't, it would only be a calamity that would bring him endless calamities. Back then, he only killed Long Yuan Haoyu and the Dragon Pool Manor wanted his life, acting against his kin. Now, the Dragon Pool Manor would definitely take revenge on him. I didn't expect Taoist Lifeless to come to our mystic region. Seems like this young miss should be the beloved daughter of the Sky Order heavenly deity. That expert who appeared spoke, recognizing Lifeless. They were all from heavenly deity-ranked powers. Even if they were in different regions, they would still pay attention to each other. Lifeless was the person the Sky Order heavenly deity trusted the most. Now that he appeared beside this young miss, there was only one possibility. Luotian Lei was the daughter of the Sky Order heavenly deity. The daughter of a heavenly deity. The hearts of everyone trembled as they stared at Luotian Lei. Her status was even more noble compared to the disciple of a heavenly deity. This beautiful young miss was the daughter of a heavenly deity. Dong Huangying felt some discomfort in her heart. Yu Changkong was merely a disciple of a heavenly deity while she was merely his fiancée. Her beauty was also inferior to the Luotian clan. It felt like she was being ruthlessly suppressed. No wonder she looks so heroic. So it turns out that she is the daughter of Senior Sky Order heavenly deity. I've heard of the Sky Order heavenly deity's deeds back then. How glorious was he back then? Sadly, he was defeated by a junior and his cultivation base was crippled. A heavenly deity was actually reduced to a cripple. Such pain is most probably worse than death, right? Yu Changkong calmly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, Luotian Lei's gaze turned to him. Her gaze was as cold as the edge of a blade, filled with an intense killing intent. Qin Wentian also turned his gaze to Yu Changkong. This seemed to be praising the Sky Order heavenly deity, but in truth, it was a disguised form of humiliation. Lifeless silhouette flashed as he soared through the air. However, at the same time, Yu Changkong's martial uncle also moved, blocking before Yu Changkong. The major characters from the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms did the same as well. Lifeless walked near them, his eyes flashed with cold killing intent. This place is the desolate region. If the Luotian clan dares to act against a disciple of my Ziwei Divine Court, the people of the Luotian clan can forget about leaving here today. Yu Changkong's martial uncle coldly spoke. Lifeless didn't move. He also understood that this place was the mystic region after all. It would be extremely easy for the heavenly deities of the Ziwei divine court to rush here. Two deity-level powers were opposing each other. This caused the hearts of many world overlords who were spectating to tremble. Would the matter this time continue to escalate, or would it cease and desist? Most probably, both sides would have some trepidation. Senior, I'm also a world overlord of the mystic region. I obeyed the summons and came here to participate in the convention of the myriad realms. During the convention, the Dragon Pool Manor disregarded the rules and acted against my wife in the palace I was staying in. After that, they acted against my family and friends, almost killing me. Now, I'm here for revenge. Does Senior want to stop me? Qin Wentian walked out, staring at Yu Changkong's martial uncle. If you want revenge, I won't stop you. However, the Luotian clan cannot interfere. The other party glanced at Qin Wentian. This person's talent was outstanding. If he had occupied the Constellation Lord position back then, he could have recruited him into the Ziwei Divine Court as well. Sadly, Qin Wentian would rather give up and join the Tiandao Sacred Academy, not giving face to the Ziwei Divine Court. The Luotian clan doesn't represent the desolate region. It's only because we have some friendship that they helped me. What's wrong with that? Qin Wentian asked. No means no. There's no other reason. Yu Changkong's martial uncle calmly spoke. I've already said it. If you want revenge, just do it yourself. No one will stop you. What logic is this? In that case, I have a conflict with Yu Changkong. If I want to kill him, the Ziwei Divine Court won't help me. Qin Wentian didn't want to offend the Ziwei Divine Court. However, the attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court caused him to be very disappointed. Today, anyone who obstructs him from dealing with the Dragon Pool Manor would be his enemy. Your tone is a little too arrogant. Dong Huangning coldly spoke. Arrogant? It's extremely easy for me to kill him. If not, why don't you ask him if he dares to fight me? Qin Wentian mocked. Dong Huangying's beautiful eyes flashed. Yu Changkong's expression was extremely unsightly. Right now, he was already a heavenly deity's disciple, but he was still humiliated by Qin Wentian in public. He had no way to retort. Could it be that he really had to fight against Qin Wentian? Given the current situation, he would definitely lose. Yu Changkong still knew his own limits. If not, he wouldn't want Qin Wentian to die so badly. Impudent. That expert from the Ziwei Divine Court berated. He coldly spoke, right now, Changkong has already taken my senior brother as his disciple. How can you be qualified to challenge him as you wish? Senior's attitude, can it represent the attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court? Qin Wentian's eyes were like ice. Naturally. That person coldly spoke. Fine. Qin Wentian's heart turned cold. At this moment, another voice rang out, the Qingqing Realm Lord will head to my Tiandao Sacred Academy to cultivate. Why are you not qualified? As the sound of this voice faded, a group of people appeared. The person in the lead was none other than the hegemonic-level world overlord of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. He stared at Qin Wentian and smiled. Qin Wentian, before this, I've already asked the heavenly deities of our Tiandao Sacred Academy. They are willing to be your teachers and impart the Tao to you. Are you willing? Naturally, it's fine if you reject. You can still head to my Tiandao Sacred Academy to cultivate. Qin Wentian started. After that, joy filled his heart. The Tiandao Sacred Academy was willing to stand up for him. He still had a very favorable impression of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. In addition, he was willing to believe in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Right now, the attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court caused him to be very disappointed. It's Junior's honor, I'm naturally willing. Qin Wentian nodded. The hearts of the people in the surroundings trembled. Another person who could enter the tutelage of a heavenly deity. Although he was only a teacher, there was no difference between him and a teacher. Qin Wentian could also be considered a disciple of a heavenly deity, comparable to Yu Changkong. The Ziwei Divine Court chose Yu Changkong. The Tiandao Sacred Academy was willing to stand up for the Qingqing Realm Lord, not hesitating to offend the Ziwei Divine Court. This was truly interesting. One was the successor of the Time King, the other was someone who defeated the Time King. In that case, who would be more outstanding in the future? Dong Huangying's expression changed. Qin Wentian also obtained the favor of a heavenly deity. But so what of it? Qin Wentian was the successor of the Time King, he would only be more outstanding. Right. The expert from the Tiandao Sacred Academy smiled and nodded. He glanced at Yu Changkong's martial uncle and spoke. In the past, the Dragon Pool Manor's actions truly went overboard, but the Ziwei Divine Court didn't interfere. In that case, the Ziwei Divine Court shouldn't interfere in this matter as well. If not, it would be too biased. The Tiandao Sacred Academy has never participated in the disputes of the outside world. It's naturally best that we don't participate in this matter as well. Since the Luotian clan of the Desolate region is involved, how can my Ziwei Divine Court stand aside and watch? The other party felt unhappy in his heart. This Tiandao Sacred Academy was smacking the face of the Ziwei Divine Court. This made him very unhappy. The attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court was very clear. Yu Changkong's attitude was their attitude as well. Qin Wentian's heart turned cold. He stared at the other party and spoke. Earlier Senior said that the matter between me and the Dragon Pool Manor will be settled by us. The Ziwei Divine Court won't interfere, right? As long as the Luotian clan doesn't participate, my Ziwei Divine Court won't interfere. The other party nodded. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. Since this is the case, I'll challenge the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. As the sound of his voice faded, everyone in the surroundings was shocked. Chapter 1806. Everyone stared at Qin Wentian in disbelief. He wanted to challenge the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Honestly speaking, there was no need to doubt Qin Wentian's talent. He was one of the most dazzling world overlords in the Time Realm and had even defeated Yu Changkong before. Not only that, he also comprehended the ability to stop time. However, what sort of character was the Dragon Pool Manor Lord? He was a true hegemonic level character. He had been in charge of the Dragon Pool Manor for many years and was one of the peak experts in Time City. Had Qin Wentian gone mad? He actually dared to challenge the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Elder brother. Luo Shenlei transmitted her voiceover, feeling a little worried. Think clearly. 10 Miles Springwind also transmitted his voiceover. He glanced at Qin Wentian. Old Ghost's eyes narrowed habitually. Chao Tian started before he laughed uproariously. What boldness, as expected of his brother. Yu Changkong also started. After that, a cold smile flashed in his eyes. Was Qin Wentian courting death? This was what he wanted to see. Dong Huangying stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian overestimated himself and was actually so arrogant to this extent. Most probably, Qin Wentian basically had no idea how powerful hegemonic level characters were. The eyes of the major character from the Tiandao Sacred Academy flashed. He stared at Qin Wentian in bewilderment as he asked, "Are you sure?" Senior, the Ziwei Divine Court is the hegemon of the Mystic region. Since this is their attitude, I can only act personally and abide by the rules of the Ziwei Divine Court. Qin Wentian spoke. Right. That major character nodded and didn't obstruct him. Given Qin Wentian's cultivation realm, his state of heart was extraordinary. He naturally understood what he was doing. Since Qin Wentian has already made his decision, he naturally wouldn't obstruct him. The eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord flashed with intense killing intent. Qin Wentian was courting death. In today's situation, luckily the Ziwei Divine Court appeared. He naturally understood that this was because of Yu Changkong. If Yu Changkong didn't do anything in this situation, causing his Dragon Pool Manor to be completely destroyed, he would definitely reveal that Yu Changkong was the one who instructed him to do so. But now, Although he hated Yu Changkong, he couldn't afford to offend him. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he soared up into the air, appearing in the airspace above the Dragon Pool Manor. All of you fight to your heart's content. You don't have to worry about what's happening below. A major character from the Ziwei Divine Court spoke, telling the Dragon Pool Manor Lord to fight at ease. There was no need to worry that the Dragon Pool Manor would suffer from the aftershocks. He would naturally protect the manor. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord nodded, his killing intent surging. He stepped out and stared at Qin Wentian like he was looking at a dead man. A young world overlord wanted to challenge him. Seems like this Qin Wentian was a little too arrogant to the point where he didn't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. So what if Qin Wentian could freeze time and space? The prerequisite was that he had to be able to suppress his opponent's world heart. As a major character, there was no suspense in this battle against Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian would die for sure. At this instant, Qin Wentian saw the eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord turning gray as a sense of death radiated from them. The entire world seemed to have turned dark, causing Qin Wentian to feel an extremely terrifying aura. Hegemonic existences could fuse multi-attribute source origins, creating an inconceivable heaven-heart mandate. They were definitely extremely powerful. The reason why Qin Wentian challenged the Dragon Pool Manor Lord was because he had no other choice. If the Dragon Pool Manor wasn't destroyed today, it would be a calamity for his Qingqing realm. Since he had formed a death grudge with a major character, he could only kill the other party. If not, there would be endless troubles in the future. Hence, for this battle, he would disregard everything and kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Qin Wentian, even after you die, you will regret everything you have done today. It's you who implicated everyone around you. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord coldly transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. Today, Qin Wentian slaughtered many people in the Dragon Pool Manor. This debt had to be settled. Qin Wentian's life wasn't enough. As the sound of his voice faded, he didn't plan to give Qin Wentian any chance at all. He directly unleashed his world heart and in an instant, a world of darkness appeared. It was like the end of the world had arrived. Qin Wentian seemed to have fallen into the eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. The entire world turned gray, filled with an intense sense of death, like he was in hell. In his surroundings, there were no longer people. There was only an abyss of death that could devour everything. And the Dragon Pool Manor was the ruler of this abyss of death. Today, you will understand what it means to be a hegemonic level character. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord spoke. Qin Wentian's expression was cold but his eyes were filled with resolution. He was more determined than ever before. For this battle, he could only win. Outside the world heart, everyone could see the scene in the air. The hell-like abyss of death enveloped Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's body was completely enveloped by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's world heart. There was basically no way for him to exit. There was only one possibility, he would die inside. Elder brother. Luo Shenlei's beautiful eyes flashed with worry. She transmitted her voice to Lifeless, Grandpa Lifeless, if he encounters danger, disregard everything and save him. She couldn't care so much, she also couldn't care about the Ziwei Divine Court. Her elder brother challenging a hegemonic level character was already an unfair battle. If something happened to him, disregard everything and save him. She knew that on Qin Wentian's shoulders, there was still hope for her father. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord's world heart is the abyss of death. Within it, no one can survive. This Qingqing Realm Lord truly doesn't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. A hegemonic level character from the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms calmly spoke. Dong Huangying coldly stared at everything, he is indeed courting death. He is too arrogant. A cold smile appeared on Yu Changkong's face. It was like he could already see Qin Wentian's death. This was the effect he wanted. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord would kill Qin Wentian. From now onwards, he would be the successor of the Time King. In the Dragon Pool Manor, countless experts inclined their heads and stared at the air, their eyes filled with hatred. All of them wanted Qin Wentian to die. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord stood in the abyss. He was like a divinity that controlled the abyss of death. His eyes flickered with the intent of death as he stared at Qin Wentian. Go to hell. As the sound of his voice faded, the abyss of death gushed towards Qin Wentian, wanting to engulf Qin Wentian within. Every strand of energy within the abyss contained a powerful death intent. Just a strand of its aura could kill, let alone the descent of the abyss of death. This was a doomsday. If the abyss of death enveloped an entire city, everyone in the city would instantly be turned into corpses. Qin Wentian released his heavenly fate world heart. It frenziedly gushed out, fusing into the abyss of death and actually fusing with the other party's world heart. Time stop. Qin Wentian spoke. The howling abyss seemed to slow down for a moment. But at the next instant, a terrifying energy erupted forth from the abyss, corroding it, breaking the stillness of time bit by bit. The black-colored abyss energy continued to invade, devouring the energy of time and space, wanting to devour it as well. Clearly, Qin Wentian's world heart wasn't of a higher grade compared to his opponent's world heart. There was no way for him to suppress it. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord stepped forward, getting closer to Qin Wentian. He wanted to see Qin Wentian despair, he wanted to see Qin Wentian die. Now is the time. An intense coldness gleamed in Qin Wentian's eyes. His heart was like still water, he had never been so calm before. Abruptly, an incomparably resplendent light erupted forth from his chest. The bones in his entire body radiated a transcendent energy. At this moment, Qin Wentian felt as though he was in control of everything. This was the control of time. He could clearly sense the formless flow of time, the river of time was slowly flowing. This formless energy seeped into the abyss of death, into the body of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, enveloping him within. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord didn't sense it. Without time-attributed energy, how could he sense the flow of time? However, he could sense that Qin Wentian's body seemed to be undergoing a transformation. That resplendent light was like the might of the heavenly Tao, erupting forth with a divine glow. He faintly felt a sense of unease. His perception was extremely sharp, it felt like he was being invaded by some sort of mysterious energy. Time stop. Qin Wentian spoke the same words again. At this moment, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's robes stopped fluttering. His black hair no longer fluttered, his fingers stiffened and his body had no way to move forward. He could sense all the changes happening to his body. His heartbeat had stopped, but his thoughts were unable to stop. How can this be possible? A horrified thought appeared in the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's mind. A feeling of despair appeared in his heart. He was actually frozen in time. How could Qin Wentian miss out on such an opportunity? At the instant he spoke, the power of his heaven heart mandate frenziedly erupted forth from his world heart. Beams of destructive light directly penetrated through the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's body. Qin Wentian stepped out and appeared before the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. The boundless energy from his world heart was all gathered in his fist. At this moment, Qin Wentian's fist contained all the energy from his world heart. After that, it abruptly erupted forth as he ferociously punched out towards the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. A destructive fist that could pierce through the heavens and earth slammed into the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's body. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord's body trembled violently. The frozen time seemed to have been broken apart by this punch. The eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord were filled with intense terror. With a thunderous boom, that incomparably powerful body of his directly shattered into pieces. At this instant, the abyss of death instantly vanished. The body of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord also vanished along with it. When the space regained its calmness, only the white-robed figure was still standing there proudly, exuding an unparalleled aura. A single punch, killing a hegemonic-level character. No. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor all had looks of despair on their faces. They were filled with incomparable agony. The death of their manor lord caused them to sink into boundless despair. For those who entered the time realm together with the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, they only had fear in their hearts now. The world overlords in the surroundings were all shocked speechless by this single punch. Their hearts pounded violently. There was once a person in the mystic region who had a huge grudge with a major power in the time realm. After he came out, he directly destroyed that major power, leveling it to flat ground. Today, after the convention of the myriad realms, Qin Wentian walked out from the time realm. He wanted to destroy the Dragon Pool Manor, killing the hegemonic level character, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, with a single punch. There was once a person named Jian Junlai. Right now, he was a legendary character in the mystic region, the Sword Monarch. The person today was none other than the Qingqing Realm Lord, Qin Wentian. History was shockingly similar. However, Jian Junlai had once obtained the Time King's inheritance, while the successor of the Time King for the Convention of the Myriad Realms this time around was actually Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong, who was defeated by Qin Wentian. Chapter 1807. The major character from the Ziwei Divine Court stared at Qin Wentian. He also didn't expect that Qin Wentian would actually be able to kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In the battle earlier, there seemed to be a treasure in his body that radiated a terrifying light, allowing him to unleash a supreme might, stopping time and killing with a single strike. A young world overlord who had cultivated for less than 1,000 years actually managed to kill a major character. What did this mean? This meant that Qin Wentian had immense potential and could become a heavenly deity. His talent wasn't inferior to Jian Junlai back then. However, he didn't choose the Ziwei Divine Court and chose the Tiandao Sacred Academy instead. If one were to say that Qin Wentian was in the wrong, this should be his only mistake. If he was willing to occupy the Constellation Lord position back then, the Ziwei Divine Court would be willing to nurture him on the same level as Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong's eyes narrowed, gleaming with coldness. How could this be? This had disrupted his plan. He initially thought that today would be the date of Qin Wentian's death. However, Qin Wentian actually gave everyone a pleasant surprise. He killed the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In this case, there was no longer any excuse to keep Qin Wentian alive. The people from the Donghuang clan and Dong Huangying froze. Dong Huangying clenched her fists tightly, feeling a little uncomfortable because Qin Wentian had won. In the direction of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, the major character had a smile on his face. As expected of the successor of the Time King. A radiant smile appeared in Luo Shenlei's eyes. Her elder brother was truly an unparalleled character. His opponent wouldn't be someone like Yu Changkong, it would be that so-called Heaven's Son from the Heaven region. They were then destined to be enemies. She grew more and more convinced that Qin Wentian would be able to reach that step. This was just like what her father believed. I'm convinced. 10 Miles Springwind speechlessly spoke. Qin Wentian could even accomplish this. Ha, old ghost, do you think you can win against Brother Qin? Chao Tianshao smiled as he glanced at Old Ghost beside him. Old Ghost narrowed his eyes and didn't reply. Phoenix also sighed in her heart. Qin Wentian was simply too outstanding. Back then when they were friends with Qin Wentian, they didn't expect him to be so outstanding to such an extent. It seemed that their friend was born extraordinary and was destined to become a legendary figure in the future. This was also what many world overlords in the surroundings were thinking. For this convention, if Yu Changkong was the most dazzling character before this, Qin Wentian should be able to surpass him now. If defeating Yu Changkong wasn't enough, what about killing the hegemonic level Dragon Pool Manor Lord? Qin Wentian's expression was as cold as ever. His gaze turned to the other world overlords of the Dragon Pool Manor. There were still many powerful characters in the Dragon Pool Manor, he couldn't spare them. His eyes flashed with killing intent, causing the hearts of those world overlords to tremble as their countenances turned pale. Although they had the advantage in numbers, a battle wasn't something that could be resolved with numbers. This was especially so for experts at the world overlord level. Qin Wentian relied on his World Heart and Heaven Heart mandate to kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In that case, who else would be able to block the power of his World Heart? Do you all want to commit suicide or do you all want me to act personally? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. The gazes of those world overlords turned to the major characters of the Ziwei Divine Court. Right now, only the Ziwei Divine Court could save their Dragon Pool Manor. However, the major characters of the Ziwei Divine Court fell silent. Before this, he had already said that as long as the Luotian clan doesn't participate, the grudge between Qin Wentian and the Dragon Pool Manor would be settled. But now, if he spoke again, wouldn't that be smacking his own face? In addition, he truly had no reason to interfere in this matter. Young Master Yu. A world overlord glanced at Yu Changkong, his words causing Yu Changkong to frown. He then spoke, Qingqing Realm Lord, you have already gone overboard by starting a massacre in the Mystic region today. It's time for you to stop this matter. Qin Wentian coldly glanced at him. If you want to fight, you can do so yourself. But if you don't want to fight, just shut your mouth. There was nothing more direct than such humiliation. Yu Changkong, you don't have the qualifications to interrupt. Yu Changkong felt somewhat embarrassed, but he didn't say anything. Upon seeing his silence, as well as sensing the sharp killing intent in Qin Wentian's eyes, that world overlord from the Dragon Pool Manor spoke, Qin Wentian, I have something to say. If you want to beg for mercy, there's no need for that. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. My Dragon Pool Manor's current situation is all thanks to Yu Changkong. That world overlord suddenly spoke, his words causing Qin Wentian's eyes to gleam with a terrifying coldness. Back then when the Dragon Pool Manor used such extreme methods to deal with him, he already felt that it was somewhat strange. Could it be that there was more to this than meets the eye? Yu Changkong's gaze suddenly turned sharp. What are you talking about? Yu Changkong, although you are now a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court, since you caused my Dragon Pool Manor to be in such dire straits, I can only say this out loud. That world overlord continued, back then because Qin Wentian became a heavenly deity's disciple, our Dragon Pool Manor went to the Donghuang clan's palace to offer our congratulations. Not only did our Dragon Pool Manor go, many other powers did as well. Yu Changkong intentionally sought out the Manor Lord for a chat, hinting at the hatred between our Dragon Pool Manor and Qin Wentian. Yu Changkong also said that the Luotian clan of the Desolate region wouldn't be able to interfere in matters of the Mystic region. With the Ziwei Divine Court present, the Tiandao Sacred Academy has no reason to interfere in matters of the Mystic region. He also said that in the future, he would recommend the Dragon Pool Manor to become a subordinate power of the Ziwei Divine Court. Yu Changkong. Qin Wentian's eyes were cold to the extreme. In that case, not only did Yu Changkong reveal killing intent when he challenged him back then, after he became a heavenly deity's disciple and joined the Ziwei Divine Court, accomplishing his scheme, Yu Changkong still wasn't willing to spare him, the true successor of the Time King. He even hinted to the Dragon Pool Manor to kill him. In that case, other than the World Overlord and the Dragon Pool Manor Lord whom he killed, Yu Changkong was also the main culprit. Yu Changkong's despicableness has already surpassed the limits of Qin Wentian's tolerance. As expected of a despicable person. Chao Tian coldly spoke. I suggest the Ziwei Divine Court to investigate this person's character. Luo Xinlei also stared at Yu Changkong, her gaze was extremely cold. They all believed in the words of the Dragon Pool Manor's world overlord because today, the Ziwei Divine Court did indeed come here to stop the Luotian clan from acting. Also, the Dragon Pool Manor knew that the Dragon Pool Manor's methods would offend the Luotian clan and Tiandao Sacred Academy. But even so, the Dragon Pool Manor still chose to do so. This was very strange. If Yu Changkong had hinted to the Dragon Pool Manor, everything would be logical. Do you know the consequences of slandering a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court? Yu Changkong coldly glanced at her. He naturally wouldn't admit to this. However, Dong Huangying's beautiful eyes turned to him. She thought back then when Yu Changkong was talking to the Dragon Pool Manor's secret agent. She once asked him what they talked about and Yu Changkong said that it was nothing. After that, the Dragon Pool Manor used extreme methods to assassinate Qin Wentian. She faintly felt that this was indeed done by Yu Changkong. Why did her fiancé want Qin Wentian to die? Was it because of that defeat and because of that, he was jealous of Qin Wentian? She wasn't willing to believe this. She only supported Yu Changkong because she felt that he was more outstanding. In her heart, she had always been biased towards him, giving up her friendship with Qin Wendian and agreeing to his marriage proposal. Even if Yu Changkong was defeated, she still believed that Yu Changkong, the successor of the Time King, would definitely be even more outstanding in the future and cleanse the humiliation. She didn't want to accept that Yu Changkong was jealous of Qin Wendian. Things have already reached this point. My Dragon Pool Manor suffered a calamity because of you, yet you acted indifferently and only said a few words. Since this is the case, I will naturally announce this matter publicly. There's no need for you to threaten me anymore. My Dragon Pool Manor is already in such a state, if the Ziwei Divine Court wants to do something, I have nothing to say. That expert's heart was like dead ashes. If they had to carry this secret to their deaths, they wouldn't be willing. I'll believe your words. Qin Wendian spoke. I killed the Dragon Pool Manor because your Dragon Pool Manor was too much of a bully. Not only did you want to kill me, you even wanted to kill my family and friends. But since the mastermind is Yu Changkong, I'll give you all a chance. I'm willing to spare you and the Dragon Pool Manor. However, the prerequisite is that you all have to make a blood oath. You can hate me, you can come and kill me, but you are not allowed to kill the people around me. If not, I will definitely cleanse the Dragon Pool Manor in blood. Qin Wendian's words caused the people of the Dragon Pool Manor to feel a glimmer of hope. This hatred was truly unforgettable. However, Qin Wendian said that he wouldn't stop them from seeking revenge against Qin Wendian. As long as they had the strength to do so, Qin Wendian didn't care. But the prerequisite was that they couldn't touch the people around him or he would cleanse the entire Dragon Pool Manor in blood. Are you all willing? Qin Wendian asked. Since you are so courageous, we are naturally willing to make the oath. If I take revenge on the people around you, Qin Wendian, the Dragon Pool Manor will definitely be annihilated. A world overlord made the oath. After that, the other world overlords of the Dragon Pool Manor respectively expressed their stance. Qin Wendian could be considered to have spared them. After knowing that the mastermind was Yu Changkong, he was actually willing to spare them. What else could they be unhappy about? Naturally, they wouldn't be grateful to Qin Wendian. This grudge still existed. If they had the ability, they would definitely kill Qin Wendian for revenge. Senior from the Tiandao Sacred Academy, please bear witness for me. Qin Wendian stared at the major character from the Tiandao Sacred Academy as he spoke. Right. In the future, if the Dragon Pool Manor breaks the oath, my Tiandao Sacred Academy will act. That major character nodded. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor were in a desperate situation. All of them felt hope. After knowing the truth, compared to Qin Wendian, they also hated Yu Changkong. Qin Wendian wanting to take revenge was within reason because the Dragon Pool Manor Lord wanted to kill others. But all of this was instigated by Yu Changkong. At the very end, he actually chose to watch from the sidelines. Qin Wendian slowly turned his gaze over and stared at Yu Changkong. At this moment, his killing intent was extremely sharp. He then turned to the major character from the Ziwei Divine Court. Senior, you should have heard the words of the Dragon Pool Manor. In that case, this is a grudge between me and Yu Changkong. I want to have a life and death battle with Yu Changkong. Senior won't stop me, right? That major character's expression froze. He stared at Qin Wendian and coldly spoke, a bunch of nonsense. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor are willing to do anything in order to survive, slandering others. Could it be that this is the truth? Right now, Yu Changkong was the personal disciple of his senior brother. How could he allow such a stain on his reputation to be tarnished? This would cause his senior brother's reputation to be tarnished. In that case, even with such a life and death grudge, senior still wants to protect him. Qin Wendian spoke. Qingqing Realm Lord, mind your status. The major character from the Ziwei Divine Court coldly spoke. Ha ha ha. Qin Wendian suddenly laughed uproariously. What a good mind your status. Since senior from the Ziwei Divine Court wants to stop me, I naturally wouldn't dare to act. It's just that there's something I have to remind senior. How can the Ziwei Divine Court be so certain that in the Time Realm, the voice message left behind by the Time King was left behind for Yu Changkong? Chapter 1808. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the entire space turned silent. He said, was the Ziwei Divine Court so certain that the ancient Time King's voice was left behind for Yu Changkong? What did these words mean? Back then in the Time Realm, when Qin Wentian was arguing with Yu Changkong, he had also said something similar. Qin Wentian once said, Yu Changkong said that he obtained the ancient Time King's inheritance and you guys believe him? But what if I said that I obtained the ancient Time King's inheritance? At that time, everyone treated this as a joke, feeling that Qin Wentian was slandering Yu Changkong when they were arguing. In truth, Qin Wentian's tone back then was indeed very casual. But today, Qin Wentian actually said such a sentence again. Also, he said this to a major character of the Ziwei Divine Court. At this moment, who could ignore Qin Wentian's words? Just earlier, Qin Wentian killed the Manor Lord of the Dragon Pool Manor, a hegemonic-level character. In addition, the ability he used was precisely the power of time stop. His time stop ability even caused the Dragon Pool Manor Lord to be stopped. How powerful was this? The major character of the Ziwei Divine Court, Yu Changkong's martial uncle, actually trembled because of a single sentence from Qin Wentian. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying light as he stared at Qin Wentian. As for the people of the Donghuang clan, their hearts trembled. This was especially so for Dong Huangying. Her expression instantly changed. Impossible, this is impossible. Dong Huangying's heart screamed. She didn't believe Qin Wentian's words. Or more accurately, she was hinting to herself not to believe Qin Wentian's words. The major character of the Tiandao Sacred Academy had a smile on his face. 10 Miles Springwind and the others froze as they stared at Qin Wentian who was in the air. After that, 10 Miles Springwind and Chao Tian exchanged mutual glances. They could see the shock in each other's eyes. After that, their expressions became extremely fascinating. If the truth was like what they guessed, this matter was simply too interesting. Wouldn't the faces of the Ziwei Divine Court and Donghuang clan be smack swollen? Yu Changkong's eyes narrowed as his expression changed. However, he swiftly adjusted himself and acted like nothing had happened. He stared at Qin Wentian as though what Qin Wentian said had nothing to do with him. However, at this moment, he even had the heart to kill. Why did he want to borrow the Dragon Pool Manor to kill Qin Wentian? It was precisely because he was afraid that this matter would be exposed. However, the Dragon Pool Manor failed to live up to his expectations and failed twice. They even sold him out, causing Qin Wentian to be enraged. What do you mean by that? The major character of the Ziwei Divine Court coldly asked, his eyes staring fixedly at Qin Wentian. Senior, you can understand it yourself. I'm only reminding Senior. Back then when the ancient King of Time left behind his voice, who knows who he was talking to? Yu Changkong said that the voice came from the future, I said that the voice came from the past. So what of it? Who knows? Qin Wentian calmly smiled, his eyes gleaming with coldness. He initially wanted Yu Changkong to act as his substitute. If Yu Changkong didn't antagonize him, he basically wouldn't care about Yu Changkong. However, Yu Changkong challenged the limits of his patience. In that case, if the matter of him lying to the Ziwei Divine Court and the Donghuang clan was exposed, what would the consequences be? Since the Ziwei Divine Court wanted to protect Yu Changkong, fine. He wouldn't act. He wanted to see what the Ziwei Divine Court and the Donghuang clan would do. Back then, I already felt that it was strange. Why did Yu Changkong keep targeting Qin Wentian and wanted to challenge him? Now, he even hinted to the Dragon Pool Manor to kill Brother Qin. Now that I think about it, everything is truly thought-provoking. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. His casual voice seemed to connect many clues together. If one thought about it in this direction, many things would be very easy to understand. Clap, clap. A crisp sound rang out. Clap, clap. A crisp sound rang out. The gazes of everyone froze as they turned over to the source of the sound. It was actually Yu Changkong who was applauding. His handsome face had a faint smile on it, as though he didn't mind it at all. He calmly spoke, "Brother Qin's methods are excellent. I once fought against Brother Qin and I know that I'm not his opponent. Who would have thought that in terms of scheming, I'm so far inferior compared to Brother Qin? This method of sowing discord, killing people without seeing blood. I've said it before, don't call me Brother Qin. Don't you find it disgusting?" Qin Wendian coldly spoke. A person who schemed to kill him actually kept referring to him as Brother Qin. This caused Qin Wendian to feel extremely uncomfortable. Even at this moment, he can still call me Brother Qin. From this, one can see how scheming this person is. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he is shameless. Chao Tian calmly spoke. Wendian's words back then are truly true. This person is simply too hypocritical. With such a character, I wonder what methods he used to deceive the Ziwei divine court. At this moment, the crowd was starting to believe Qin Wendian's words more and more. If all of this wasn't done by Yu Changkong, shouldn't he be infuriated that Qin Wendian was slandering him? Yet, he still dared to call Yu Changkong Brother Qin. It wasn't wrong to say that Yu Changkong's schemes were extremely deep. Could it be that the publicly acknowledged supreme genius of this convention, Yu Changkong, was actually a shameless scum who deceived the heavens and the earth? A liar? If this was the case, wasn't this a little too comical? Not only did he deceive the world overlords of the convention, he even deceived the Donghuang clan and even the lofty heavenly deities of the Ziwei divine court. However, this couldn't be said to be ignorant. It was just that after the time monument inscription left behind by the ancient Time King, no one stood out to admit it. Only Yu Changkong stood out. In addition, he himself was proficient in time-attributed energy, and when he spoke about the time monument inscription, his words were clear and logical. Under such a situation, who would still doubt him? The experts here basically wouldn't think in this direction and would suspect that he was a fake. At this moment, Yu Changkong was forcefully suppressing his anger. At this moment, he wanted nothing more than to tear Qin Wendian into 1,000 pieces. However, a smile could still be seen on his face as he spoke. "From Brother Qin's words, you seem to be hinting that the person who obtained the inheritance is you. Since this is the case, Brother Qin, why don't you show everyone what kind of inheritance you obtained?" "I didn't say anything, I'm just casually reminding seniors from the Ziwei divine court. If senior doesn't mind, you can just pretend you didn't hear this." Qin Wendian calmly spoke. But the more he acted like this, the more suspicious people would be. Unless Yu Changkong could use time-attributed energy to defeat Qin Wendian, no matter if it was the Ziwei divine court or the Donghuang clan, their suspicions towards him would never be dispelled. And if he wanted to use time-attributed energy to defeat Qin Wendian, was it possible for Qin Wendian who could kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord? Yu Changkong didn't even dare to accept the challenge. Donghuang Ying's beautiful eyes kept changing. She clenched her fists and bit her red lips. Finally, she couldn't endure it any longer and transmitted her voice to Qin Wendian. "Qin Wendian, is the person who obtained the Time King's inheritance really you?" Qin Wendian turned his gaze over and stared at Donghuang Ying. If it was said that back then he treated Donghuang Ying as a friend because she tried to rope him in, but after so many things happened after that, he no longer had any good impression of Donghuang Ying. In fact, he even felt a hint of disgust. This woman was extremely snobbish. When she was already friends with him, she basically didn't know Yu Changkong at all. And after Yu Changkong admitted that he was the successor of the Time King, he intentionally revealed a hint of interest towards her. Her attitude towards Yu Changkong and him instantly changed. It was fine if there was no conflict between him and Yu Changkong. But after that happened, she chose to trust Yu Changkong unreservedly. As for this so-called friend of hers, she could only mock and ridicule him. In fact, even the Donghuang clan and Ziwei divine court acted to stop the Luotian clan from helping him. She was the same as the others in the Donghuang clan, gloating at his misfortune as he fought against the Dragon Pool Manor Lord alone. Most probably, she was the same as Yu Changkong, waiting for him to be defeated and killed by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. With regards to such a woman, it was very hard for Qin Wentian to have any good impression of her. There was only disgust. Little princess, if you have anything to say, you can just say it directly. There's no need to send a voice transmission. I heard that Yu Changkong is now the son-in-law of the Donghuang clan and has a marriage agreement with Little Princess. Others can doubt Yu Changkong, but Little Princess, as his fiancée, back then before the marriage agreement was established, you trusted him so much. Why is there a need to doubt him now? You should trust him as much as before. Qin Wentian calmly spoke, his tone filled with mockery. Dong Huangying thought of the reminder Qin Wentian gave her. There was a problem with Yu Changkong's character. At that time, Qin Wentian seemed to be hinting at her. However, she felt that Qin Wentian was jealous of Yu Changkong and he had always felt this way. But what about now? Qin Wentian had long defeated Yu Changkong and now, he even killed a hegemonic level character. Did he need to be jealous of Yu Changkong? Why did he say that Yu Changkong's character had a problem back then? Everything was so clear. It was just that she still wasn't willing to admit it. When Yu Changkong heard Qin Wentian's words, his expression couldn't help but change. His gaze turned cold. Dong Huangying actually transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian, suspecting him. Even his fiancée was suspecting him. In that case, what would the others feel when they heard this? As expected, at this moment, the gazes of countless people turned to him and Dong Huangying. Even Yu Changkong's woman started to doubt him. Seems like this Yu Changkong has truly lied to everyone. In addition, he even obtained the recognition of a heavenly deity and was accepted as a disciple. His guts were truly great. Have you been impudent enough? An expert from the Ziwei Divine Court coldly spoke. He stared at Qin Wentian and icily spoke, slandering a disciple of the Divine Court, aren't you a little too arrogant? On account of the fact that you are from the Tiandao Sacred Academy, I won't make things difficult for you. But if you still dare to speak so arrogantly in the future, don't blame me for being impolite. Everything today shall end here. Yu Changkong has already obtained the recognition of my senior brother and obtained the inheritance of the Time King. There's no need to doubt him. Instead of attacking each other because of personal grudges, why don't you go back and focus on your cultivation? The major character from the Ziwei Divine Court coldly spoke. After that, he glanced at Yu Changkong. Changkong, follow me back to the Divine Court. Yu Changkong's body trembled. He nodded and shot a venomous glance at Qin Wentian. After that, the two of them actually left directly. At this moment, everyone understood what this meant. The other party's denial at the very last moment was merely to protect the face of the Ziwei Divine Court. After that, he brought Yu Changkong away. Everything was very clear. This time, when Yu Changkong returned to the Ziwei Divine Court, what kind of interrogation would he receive? Most probably, his ending would be extremely miserable. Today, the Ziwei Divine Court did everything they could to obstruct Qin Wentian's revenge. However, a single sentence from Qin Wentian was sufficient to cause the Ziwei Divine Court to be embarrassed. Dong Huangying stared at Yu Changkong who was being brought away. Her body trembled violently as her expression turned ashen. Her chastity already belonged to Yu Changkong. Her Prince Charming was actually a swindler who deceived the world to gain fame. What did everything before count for? Chapter 1809. Many people could see Dong Huangying's expression. Their gazes were filled with pity when they looked at her. The little princess of the Donghuang clan, even if she didn't have Yu Changkong's identity, she would still be extremely dazzling and have an extraordinary status. In the future, her husband would surely be an outstanding character. Back then, after the Donghuang clan agreed to Yu Changkong's marriage proposal, how lively was the Donghuang clan's royal palace. How glorious was Dong Huangying. Everyone felt that they were a perfect match. World overlords all went to congratulate her. But what about now? Her fiancé was actually a swindler. In that case, what should they do about this marriage? If Yu Changkong didn't lie to everyone, leaving aside the fact that he obtained the Time King's inheritance, just based on his talent alone, he would be extremely compatible with Dong Huangying. But the problem was that Yu Changkong obtained the Donghuang clan's recognition through deception. In that case, would the Donghuang clan still accept him now? Would Dong Huangying be able to endure such a great disparity? Her fiancé was a supreme genius, the disciple of a heavenly deity. Yet, he instantly fell into hell and became a swindler. Such a marriage was like a joke. In addition, Yu Changkong had always been staying in the royal palace of the Donghuang clan. In that case, most probably, something already happened between Dong Huangying and Yu Changkong. In that case, would this little princess of the Donghuang clan still be able to match up to those supreme geniuses in the future? Such a character, who would still be able to accept her? From now on, it was unknown how many people would roll their eyes at her and mock her in the dark. One step to heaven, one step to hell. How sad and lamentable. For those who were deceived, they merely went to congratulate them. No one would remember those world overlords. However, the Donghuang clan was clearly the one that suffered the most. Among them, Dong Huangying suffered the most, followed by the Ziwei divine court. As a hegemonic power at the peak of the mystic region, a heavenly deity was deceived. Also, this was because he was protecting Yu Changkong against Qin Wentian and was exposed by Qin Wentian. This was truly a smacking of face. Hence, even before he left, that major character from the Ziwei divine court still said that Qin Wentian was speaking nonsense. His purpose was merely to protect the face of the Ziwei divine court and his heavenly deity's senior brother. As for what the truth was, he most probably already knew it in his heart. In addition, after they brought Yu Changkong back to the divine court, they would have too many methods to interrogate him. Yu Changkong's ending was hard to predict. I once treated you as a friend. Since you knew the truth, why didn't you tell me directly? Dong Huangying's pale expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Her beautiful eyes flickered with resentment as she stared at Qin Wentian. Right now, she clearly already believed that the God King's inheritance wasn't obtained by Yu Changkong but by Qin Wentian. However, she still only felt resentment towards Qin Wentian. If Qin Wentian had told her back then, all of this wouldn't have happened. Qin Wentian felt somewhat speechless as he stared at Dong Huangying. She actually dared to question him in such a righteous manner. This sounded truly ridiculous. Even 10 Miles Spring Wind laughed. Dong Huangying, do you truly treat Brother Qin as a friend? Or should I say, the so-called friend in your eyes is so worthless? When Yu Changkong expressed a hint of goodwill towards you, you completely forgot about the word friend. I still remember back then when Brother Qin and Yu Changkong had a conflict, what attitude did you have? You couldn't have forgotten about it, right? Brother Qin didn't even tell us about this. Why would he tell you? Phoenix calmly spoke, mocking. This matter was originally Qin Wentian's own secret. Did he really have to tell you, Dong Huangying? Even if he wants to tell you, it would depend on whether you are worthy or not. Chao Tian mocked. This woman actually hated Qin Wentian instead. How ridiculous. I don't understand what truth little princess is speaking of. I only know that back then when little princess came into contact with Yu Changkong, I've already reminded little princess that Yu Changkong's character has problems. If little princess treats me as a friend, you should believe my words and not feel that I'm jealous of Yu Changkong and intentionally belittled him. Qin Wentian calmly replied. As for the matter of the God King's inheritance, from the start to the end, he didn't personally admit that he obtained it. It's up to you all what you think. But I won't admit it. 10 Miles Springwind and the others were speechless as they stared at Qin Wentian. This fellow truly hid his achievements and fame. Was he not afraid of being struck by lightning? Dong Huangying's countenance turned even paler. Qin Wentian had indeed reminded her before and he had reminded her several times. At that time, her heart was only filled with Yu Changkong, her destined husband. How could she have cared about Qin Wentian's words? Why is there a need to bother with such a woman? At this moment, Luo Shenlei walked over and spoke to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian, the matters here have been settled. I'm preparing to return to the desolate region. She came here to bid farewell. It was time for her to leave. This time around, the Luotian clan and Qin Wentian worked together to deal with the Dragon Pool Manor. But she could say that it was because the Dragon Pool Manor had once offended the Luotian clan's prestige. This was the truth. But from now on, she mustn't be too close to Qin Wentian on the surface. If not, others would suspect her. I'm preparing to return to the Qingqing realm first before heading to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Miss Luotian, I wonder when we would meet again. Take care on your journey. Qin Wentian spoke. Michum, farewell. Luotian Lei nodded. After that, she turned and departed with Lifeless and the others. At the same time, she transmitted her voice, Elder brother, I'm leaving. I hope you can come to the Luotian clan to visit me as soon as possible. Lei, take good care of uncle. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice in reply. Luotian Lei nodded. Her figure gradually vanished, causing many people to feel a sense of disappointment and frustration. That supreme beauty from the Luotian clan was the daughter of a heavenly deity, a young miss of the Luotian clan. Her status was even more outstanding compared to Dong Huangying. Although she only appeared briefly in the mystic region, many people still remembered her. Brother Qin, this Miss Luotian Lei seems to have some feelings for you. Her background is much more noble compared to some people. Why don't you consider wooing her? Ha! 10 Miles Springwind spoke in a shameless manner. Qin Wentian glared at him, but he was long used to 10 Miles Springwind's shamelessness. Dong Huangying's expression froze. Who was this some people referring to? Given Luotian Lei's status, it was indeed much more noble compared to her. Also, Luotian Lei's birth determined that there was no need for her to rely on men to raise her status. Let's leave. The people of the Donghuang clan had lost all face today. If they stayed here, they would only be mocked by others. Right now, many people were looking at them with gazes that made them feel extremely uncomfortable. Dong Huangying was a little dazed. She cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian and left with the people of the Donghuang clan, feeling an intense sense of regret in her heart. Qin Wentian was the true extraordinary character fated to be born in the mystic region. He was the future monarch. As for her, she had already obtained his friendship, but it was destroyed by her own hands. In fact, there was even hatred between the two of them. How laughable was all of this? Sometimes, life was like a dream, so surreal. After Dong Huangying and the others left, 10 Miles Springwind spoke to Qin Wentian. Wentian, are you really preparing to leave and not stay for a period of time? Emichum, I've been out for a period of time. It's about time for me to return to the Qingqing realm. Qin Wentian spoke. Right, there's no banquet that never ends in life. We will naturally meet again in the future. 10 Miles Springwind smiled. He was staying in Time City and was running an inn. He naturally wouldn't leave. Maybe when I meet Brother Qin again, Brother Qin would already be a monarch character. The beautiful eyes of the phoenix smiled. Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to cultivate for 1,000 years, and the convention of the myriad realms was held once every 10,000 years. It was very normal for them to meet once every 10,000 years. Only heaven knew how strong Qin Wentian would be by then. If that's the case, I would be someone who was a bandit together with the monarch. In the future, I can use this as a topic of conversation in the inn to collect more fees. 10 Miles Springwind laughed uproariously. The faces of Qin Wentian and the others were all filled with black lines. Qin Wentian, when you come to the Tiandao Sacred Academy, you can directly inform me. The major character of the Tiandao Sacred Academy spoke to Qin Wentian. Right, Junior will definitely head there. Qin Wentian replied. I will make a move first. That major character nodded to Qin Wentian. After that, the people of the Tiandao Sacred Academy left. After sending off the experts of the Tiandao Sacred Academy with his gaze, Qin Wentian turned to the people of the Dragon Pool Manor. Don't forget the oath you guys made. As for me, I will wait for you guys to come and take revenge anytime. The expressions of the experts from the Dragon Pool Manor were extremely complicated when they stared at Qin Wentian. This person killed their manor lord, causing the Dragon Pool Manor to suffer a calamity. Yet in the end, he still chose to spare them, not killing the weeds by the roots and waiting for them to take revenge. If they tossed aside their hatred, such magnanimity were truly admirable. However, they were destined to be enemies. Although they were destined to be enemies, would their Dragon Pool Manor really be able to take revenge? Qin Wentian was the true successor of the Time King, a future monarch character. Did the Dragon Pool Manor still want to continue assassinating him? What if he changed his mind one day and destroyed the Dragon Pool Manor with a wave of his hand? Most probably, they would never be able to take revenge for this. Go, let's return to the inn. Today, we won't return until we are drunk. 10 Miles Springwind spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. After that, the group of them returned to the 10 Miles Inn. Today, 10 Miles Springwind actually took out a lot of wine. The few of them drank for an entire night, truly not returning until they were drunk. On the second day, 10 Miles Springwind and the others directly lay down in the pavilion. The morning breeze gusted by, feeling a little cold. 10 Miles Springwind, who was lying on the ground, opened his eyes. Old Ghost, Chao Tian and Phoenix had both woken up. Where is he? 10 Miles Springwind asked. He has already left. He brought his family with him. Chao Tian replied. It wasn't easy for us to meet each other. I didn't expect that back then. I actually became friends with a future monarch. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Old Ghost, what do you think? Phoenix asked. His talent isn't inferior to Jian Junlai. It's only a matter of time before he becomes a heavenly deity. Old Ghost narrowed his eyes. Life is like a dream. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Life is like a dream, why don't we drink until we are drunk? How much good wine do you still have? Before we leave, take it out and share it with everyone. There's no need to be reluctant. Chao Tian spoke. Scram. 10 Miles Springwind's expression instantly turned black. Chapter 1810. The Qingqing realm was the same as before. Given Qin Wentian's current prestige, there naturally wouldn't be any huge waves in the Qingqing realm. Right now in the Qingqing realm, Yi Qianyu was in charge of everything. Naturally, most of the time, she only needed to give out orders in the Qingqing Saint Hall. The specific matters would be carried out by her subordinates. As for the 9 world palaces, they were all managed by their respective world palaces. The Qingqing Saint Hall naturally wouldn't be as lively as the lifelong Saint Hall. The lifelong Realm Lord's harem was filled with beauties. But after Qin Wentian brought Qing'er and Qingqing with him, there was only a single female lord in the Qingqing Saint Hall. At this moment, in a certain area of the Qingqing Saint Hall, a beautiful figure quietly stood there, her beautiful eyes staring into the distance. She exuded magnificence through the generations, her sexy figure and beautiful countenance didn't exude a sense of nobility. She was like a queen who could bewitch the masses. This person was none other than Yi Qianyu. Right now, her beautiful eyes flickered with anticipation. She had already received a message from Qin Wentian that he would be arriving soon. Finally, the wind and clouds in the sky started to churn. After which, intense spatial fluctuations could be felt as a group of silhouettes directly descended from the spatial gate, arriving in the air above. The person in the lead was clad in white robes, his entire body untainted by even a speck of dust. Compared to when he left, the aura he exuded seemed to have changed slightly. It was as though he had become even more extraordinary. Yi Qianyu's beautiful eyes flashed with a smile. In an instant, the scenery in the world seemed to lose its color. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed and appeared beside her. He smiled, "Why are you waiting outside?" Yi Qianyu's beautiful eyes stared at him with hidden bitterness. Her expression caused Qin Wentian to feel a little guilty. Everyone laughed when they saw this scene. Many people silently left, giving time to Qin Wentian and his 3 wives. Very soon, only Qin Wentian and his 3 wives remained. Wentian, I have some things to say to elder sister Qing. I will return first. She held on to Qing Er's hand and left this place. They accompanied Qin Wentian to participate in the convention of the myriad realms together, but only Yi Qianyu stayed here. Given Qingqing's understanding nature, she would naturally give Yi Qianyu some time. Even Qingqing is more considerate than you. Yi Qianyu smiled at Qin Wentian. Who said that? Qin Wentian stretched out his hand, gently caressing Yi Qianyu's hair as he spoke in a gentle voice. How have you been recently? Everything is fine, except for a certain someone. Yi Qianyu pouted. Then I'll make it up to you for the next few days. Qin Wentian gently spoke. Before Yi Qianyu could continue complaining, she was directly carried up by Qin Wentian. After being stunned for a moment, she obediently leaned into Qin Wentian's embrace, allowing him to carry her back to the Qingqing realm. The news of the realm lord's return soon circulated. Other than Nanfeng Yaoyue and the others who followed Qin Wentian, the Desolate Heaven Palace, Xianyuan Palace, and Helan Palace lords all came to the Qingqing realm to pay their respects. Right now, Qin Wentian's authority was even higher compared to the lifelong realm lord back then. When they arrived at the lifelong Saint Hall, they soon received another piece of news. Quite a few palace lords who participated in the convention with Qin Wentian, as well as the people around him, have all broken through, transcending the Empyrean realm and entered the legendary World Overlord realm that could only be seen from afar. This realm was on the same level as the lifelong realm lord. Right now in the Qingqing realm, there were quite a few of them who followed Qin Wentian to participate in the convention of the myriad realms. After everyone learned of this news, one could very well imagine the shock in their hearts. They could only hate themselves for not being Qin Wentian's trusted aides. The current Qingqing realm lord was much more outstanding compared to the lifelong realm lord back then. They basically couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Qin Wentian only met with them once and ignored them. After all, what status did Qin Wentian have? He was a realm lord and naturally had the prestige of a realm lord. Back then when he was a palace lord, could it be that he could meet with the lifelong realm lord whenever he wanted to? Clearly, it was impossible. He was very busy, how would he have the time to meet with his subordinates for no reason? Next, other than accompanying his beauties, he still had to stabilize his cultivation base. After that, he would set off for the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The various palace lords naturally wouldn't have any complaints. Jialan Jiangshan directly stayed in the Jialan clan and didn't return to the Jialan palace. He would often bring Jialan Chuyue to the Qingqing realm to pay a visit. Even if he couldn't meet with Qin Wentian, he still wanted to familiarize himself with him. Their Jialan clan's relationship with Qin Wentian was somewhat different. During these few days, many experts suddenly appeared in the Qingqing realm. It was rumored that there were many Empyreans among them. In fact, there were even people who saw that these Empyreans were extremely respectful to them, treating them as subordinates. For the next period of time, more and more experts arrived. The people in the lead were all extremely imposing experts with unfathomable cultivation bases. Among them, Empyreans were as common as the clouds. In the top-grade inns and restaurants in Qingqing, there would often be such rumors. These people were all staying here. For a period of time, the entire city was shaken. Everyone was guessing who these people were and what they wanted to do by coming to the Qingqing realm. Very swiftly, even more shocking news circulated out. The person in the lead was actually a world overlord character. There were people who saw them meeting each other and referring to each other as world overlords. Such a major news instantly caused a huge commotion in the city. The Xianyuan Palace was shaken, the Jialan clan was shaken, all the peak powers in the city were shaken as they felt a sense of unease. Could it be that their world overlords had caused trouble outside? So many world overlords came to the Qingqing realm. They heard that the realm lord went to participate in the convention of the myriad realms in the mystic region. Did he offend someone? The people of the Qingqing realm didn't forget how Qin Wentian became the Qingqing realm lord. He fought his way up step by step and was definitely someone who liked to cause trouble. Back then, he had caused a huge commotion. In the Jalan clan, a group of core characters gathered together. Why are you putting on airs? You can't even meet him. After becoming a world overlord, things are different. Jalan Chuyue's beautiful eyes flashed with bitterness as she grumbled. Jalan Yuntian wanted to find out what happened exactly, but he basically couldn't meet Qin Wentian. Don't talk nonsense. Chuyue, you should know his current status. Why don't you try to get in contact with Di Tian? Jalan Jiangshan spoke. I'm not going. Jalan Chuyue shook her head, feeling complicated in her heart. Father. At this moment, Jalan Yunhai came over and called out, I just received news that something major is going to happen. Those major powers in the city actually gathered together and are currently heading towards the direction of the lifelong Saint Hall. Who are they exactly? What's going on? Jalan Jiangshan's eyes flashed. They came from different places. Right now, the rumors have already been confirmed. There are quite a few powerful world overlords among them, and all of them are world overlords of their own territories. They are currently leading their troops to the Qingqing realm. Jalan Yunhai spoke. He then continued, for this trip, they seem to only have a single purpose. That is the Qingqing Saint Hall. Jalan Jiangshan's eyes flashed with sharpness. Could it be that something was really going to happen? The arrival of so many world overlords together at the Qingqing Saint Hall caused him to feel very uneasy. If Qin Wentian really offended a major character outside, the Qingqing realm would no longer be at peace. What are they going to do? Did you manage to find out? Jalan Yuntian's eyes twitched as he asked. I don't know yet. I'm still sending people to monitor them and report back. Jalan Yunhai replied. This is an opportunity. Although the world overlord is known to cause trouble, he is definitely a heaven-defying genius. Many of his subordinates have already broken through to the world overlord realm. If we want to become his trusted aides, we have to experience some things first. Let's go, we can head to the Qingqing Saint Hall now. Jalan Jiangshan spoke as he prepared to move out. Jalan Yunhai's eyes flashed. How could they interfere in the matters of world overlords? They were merely going there to express their loyalty. Wasn't his father afraid that he might be implicated? Not only for the Jalan clan, everyone in the vast city was paying attention to this matter. This news was too shocking, causing huge waves of commotion. The world overlords from the various regions all gathered together and headed towards the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. This was definitely going to be a heaven-shaking event. Countless people also headed towards the Qingqing Saint Hall. They wanted to see what was going to happen exactly. Today, the sun was shining brightly and there was a light breeze in the air, causing people to feel extremely comfortable. However, the people in the city were all extremely tense. Some governors have already arrived outside the Qingqing Saint Hall, preparing to deal with the impending storm. At the foot of the flight of stairs leading to the Qingqing Saint Hall, countless experts gathered. Their gazes were all focused on a single location, at a group of people who were flying over from afar. The people in the lead all exuded an extraordinary aura and were extremely imposing. They were all lofty experts of their respective regions. They are here. The hearts of everyone trembled. Gotcha. Many people clenched their fists tightly, feeling incomparably nervous. This time around, what sort of storm would there be? At this moment in the lifelong Saint Hall, many people were waiting in formation, feeling uneasy. Even Yi Qianyu felt uneasy. Her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. The various world overlords have already arrived outside the lifelong Saint Hall. What are they doing here? How would I know? Qin Wentian shook his head and bitterly smiled. How would he know what the people outside were doing here? You wouldn't be causing trouble again, right? Yi Qianyu felt somewhat speechless when she saw how relaxed Qin Wentian was. Even she felt a little uneasy. Elder sister Qianyu, don't worry. Nothing will happen. Mo Qingqing smiled. They had experienced many storms and waves in the convention. Although she didn't know the exact reason why these world overlords came here, she understood that they definitely weren't here to cause trouble. They didn't have the guts to do so. Most probably, there weren't many people in the mystic region who would have the guts to do so. Really? Yi Qianyu's beautiful eyes stared at Mo Qingcheng. Qingcheng, tell me then. What are they doing here? I have no idea as well. Mo Qingcheng's beautiful eyes blinked. She stared at Yi Qianyu's scrutinizing gaze as an innocent expression appeared on her face. She truly had no idea. At this moment, below the stairway, the experts from the various powers all halted their steps and stared in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. At this moment, the hearts of countless people were extremely tense. The figures of the Jialan clan flashed over. Jialan Jiangshan spoke, "We made it in time. Seems like something major is going to happen." Everyone turned their gazes to the experts from the mystic region, waiting for the storm to arrive. The 7 luminaries Realm Lord of the mystic region is here to pay my respects to Senior Qingqing Realm Lord. At this moment, a world overlord called out in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. The Wuwang Realm Lord is here to pay my respects to Senior Qingqing Realm Lord. A second voice rang out. The Blazing Sun Realm Lord is here to pay my respects to Senior Qingqing Realm Lord. A second voice rang out. Voices rose and fell, echoing down the stairs of the Qingqing Temple. At this moment, the heavens and earth were silent, only the heartbeat of the crowd could be heard. Chapter 18:11. The various world overlords led their experts here, but they didn't come here for revenge like what many people thought. They came here to pay their respects. The various world overlords all referred to the Qingqing Realm Lord as Senior. What did this mean? Qin Wentian just returned from the convention of the Myriad Realms and the world overlords came here to pay their respects. This meant that their Qingqing Realm Lord had accomplished some glorious deeds during the convention. This was why so many world overlords came here to pay their respects. If not, why would other world overlords come to pay their respects to him? Also, they came in groups. From this, one could see that the weight of a single world overlord wasn't enough. Jialan Jiangshan's gaze froze, he was completely dumbstruck and speechless. After that, he silently mused in his heart that he had truly aged. He only thought that Qin Wentian might have caused trouble, but he didn't think about how famous Qin Wentian was. Because, he didn't even dare to imagine that a world overlord who ascended to the throne not long ago would have such glorious deeds. Comparing the lifelong realm lord to Qin Wentian was simply an insult to Qin Wentian. They weren't characters on the same level at all. Jialan Chuyue's beautiful eyes also froze as her heart trembled. After that, a hint of disappointment flashed through her eyes. This was Qin Wentian, the Qingqing Realm Lord Qin Wentian. He once defeated the Lifeire Empyrean in a single battle and replaced him. After that, he killed the lifelong Realm Lord and replaced him. Now, after he returned from the convention of the Myriad Realms, so many world overlords came to pay their respects to him. What sort of talent was this? Who would be able to obstruct his footsteps? Most probably, this was what it meant by supreme. Outside the Qingqing Saint Hall, experts were as common as the clouds. The spectators were countless and their hearts pounded rapidly. It took a long time for them to calm down as they stared at the lofty Qingqing Saint Hall. Their realm lord, that white-robed young man, was already walking on the path of a legend. Maybe, they had to cherish every chance they had to see him. Because, maybe many years later, he would only exist in the legends. When Yi Qianyu, who was in the Qingqing Saint Hall, heard this voice, her beautiful eyes also froze. After that, she turned her gaze to Qin Wentian as she smiled. This was the man she loved. He was destined to be extraordinary, and just like what she had predicted, he was climbing to the peak step by step. The world overlord realm wasn't his limit. Very early on, when they were still in the heavenly city, in the Thousand Feathers Palace, she already knew that his future would not be ordinary. Otherwise, she would not have gradually fallen in love with him. Reality was also proving that her judgment was not wrong. What should we do? Do you need me to step in? Yi Qianyu gently smiled. After all, many world overlords came here to pay their respects. No matter what, there should at least be an important character receiving them, right? Qin Wentian bitterly smiled as he shook his head. Although he knew that it was impossible for Qin Wentian to come here for revenge, he was still somewhat taken aback. He didn't expect that someone would come to the Qingqing realm so quickly and come here to pay a visit. Truly, humans are afraid of being famous while pigs are afraid of being fat. Qin Wentian's name shook the Time Realm during the convention of the Myriad Realms, and he also caused such a huge commotion in Time City. It was impossible for him not to be famous even if he didn't want to. As for the reputation of the Qingqing Realm Lord, it was only normal for world overlords to come here to look for him. Maybe, this person was from a nearby world overlord. However, to Qin Wentian, this was merely an unnecessary trouble. Outside the Qingqing Saint Hall, there were also countless people waiting for their Qingqing Realm Lord to come out. When they saw that supreme silhouette, they really wanted to know what accomplishments the Qingqing Realm Lord had in the outside world. Compared to back then when he killed the lifelong Realm Lord, how much stronger was he now? You guys came from afar, you guys can tour the city for a few days before returning. A voice rang out from the Qingqing Saint Hall, filled with calmness. This voice wasn't loud, but it rang out clearly in the ears of everyone. When they heard this, the hearts of many people trembled violently again. The meaning behind this sentence was a single word. Not to be seen. The various world overlords personally came to pay their respects, but the Qingqing Realm Lord's attitude was that he wouldn't see any guests. Many people were speechless. Was this arrogance or arrogance? Naturally, it wasn't. Back then at the 10 Miles Inn, many world overlords came to the inn to pay their respects to the absolute beginning overlord. However, the absolute beginning overlord didn't want to see any guests. How would a hegemonic level world overlord have the time to meet people of no importance? If every world overlord came to meet him, wouldn't that be troublesome? What would they say after the meeting? What was the point of exchanging pleasantries? Before he became famous, if he went to pay his respects to other famous world overlords, would they accept him? Of course not. What sort of character was Qin Wentian? It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was the most dazzling character in the convention. He was the successor of the Time King and had killed the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Even the heavenly deities of the Tiandao Sacred Academy were willing to be his teacher. With such a status, even ordinary hegemonic-level world overlords wouldn't be able to stand on equal footing with him. If they could meet with Qin Wentian, it would be their honor. It was only logical that Qin Wentian didn't want to meet with him. They all understood that this was very normal. It was like if a supreme character whom they didn't know came to pay a visit to them, would they meet with him? They wouldn't meet with him either. They also understood that their statuses weren't high enough. Hence, they came together, hoping to be able to see the glory of this successor of the Time King. If they could become familiar with him, in the future when Qin Wentian became a character like the Sword Monarch, they could say that they were acquainted with heavenly deities. How glorious would that be? Sadly, even though they came together, Qin Wentian still didn't meet with them. Senior Qingqing Realm Lord displayed his magnificence in the convention, killing a hegemonic-level world overlord with a single battle. Who in the Mystic region doesn't know of you? It's truly a pity that we weren't able to meet with Senior. However, it's still an honor to be able to see the glory of Senior's city. A world overlord slowly spoke. The people in the surroundings felt that their hearts couldn't take it anymore. Arrogance? Arrogance? They were thinking too much. This seemed to be a matter of course. Those world overlords who were rejected all felt this way. The Qingqing Realm Lord killed a hegemonic-level world overlord with a single battle. Who in the Mystic region didn't know of him? What sort of evaluation was this? They felt that their brains weren't enough. They really wanted to know what sort of commotion their world overlord caused in the convention exactly. In the future, if Senior ascends to the heavenly divinity realm, becoming a divinity beneath all living beings, this Qingqing Realm Lord would also become a sacred ground for the gods. Now that we are here, we should take a good look around. Another world overlord spoke, wanting to bootlick, but his words weren't exaggerated. Qin Wentian had indeed displayed the potential of a heavenly deity. Just as they were speaking, more experts arrived from afar. A group of people arrived, and when they saw the situation here, the person in the lead silently sighed in his heart. Was this his current status? Many world overlords have already personally come to pay their respects to him. He stood on the ground and clasped his hands in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. Realm Lord of the Heavenly Talisman Realm is here to beg for forgiveness. I hope that you can punish me for my disrespect in the past. There was a young man beside him. This young man was none other than the person who came to cause trouble and humiliate Qin Wendian back then during the banquet in the Qingqing Saint Hall. He lowered his head and spoke in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. Junior dared to offend Senior back then and specially came here to beg for forgiveness. Senior, please punish me accordingly. Some of the people who attended the banquet in the Qingqing Saint Hall all knew about this matter. Right now, a world overlord from the Heavenly Talisman Realm personally came to the Qingqing Saint Hall to beg for forgiveness. As for that young man who spoke arrogantly back then, he lowered his voice and didn't even dare to lift his head. What did this mean? This meant that the current Qingqing Realm Lord could easily crush them to death. Hence, they didn't dare to not come. It was true that the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord didn't dare to not come. Although he and Qin Wendian once shared the status of an apostle, how would he dare to bring that up? Right now, he felt some regret. He didn't expect that such a character would actually appear in the Azure Mystic Realm, and this character was even his personal disciple. But after that, he actually offended Qin Wendian, standing on the opposite side and even mocking him during the banquet. How could he not be afraid of Qin Wendian taking revenge? After the incident in the Dragon Pool Manor, he immediately left the Time Realm and returned. The first thing he did was to come to the Qingqing Saint Hall to beg for forgiveness. If Qin Wendian bore a grudge and personally came to visit him, the consequences would be unimaginable. You still have the face to come. A voice drifted over. Jun Mengchen soared through the air, exuding the might of a powerful world overlord. The Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord sighed in his heart. This man was once a disciple of his Heavenly Talisman Realm and could be considered his disciple. However, Jun Mengchen and his senior apprentice brother were once imprisoned by the Heavenly Talisman Realm. I naturally know my mistake and came here to beg for forgiveness. The Realm Lord felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart, but he had no choice but to lower his head. Senior brother, how should we deal with him? Qin Wendian glanced in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall as he asked. Do what you want to do. Qin Wendian spoke. Jun Mengchen was the victim back then. If it wasn't for Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya being imprisoned by the Heavenly Talisman Realm, Qin Wendian wouldn't have hated the Heavenly Talisman Realm so much. At most, they wouldn't have any dealings with each other. Jun Mengchen clenched his fists. He stared at the Realm Lord and spoke, although I want nothing more than to kill you with a single punch, it's still a matter of fate. My senior brother and I got to know each other because of you, that's why I have such a senior brother. There are also 2 other senior brothers who treated me like a father. Sadly, you personally destroyed this fate. Scram, I don't want to see you ever again. He was ultimately soft-hearted. Other than Qin Wendian, he and his senior apprentice brother, as well as Bai Wuya, were acquainted because of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. That experience had a great impact on him, even affecting his entire life. Hence, he still decided to spare the Realm Lord. Many thanks. The Realm Lord clasped his hands and left with his tail between his legs. Not being punished was already the best ending for him. However, Jun Mengchen's words caused him to feel pain in his heart. Indeed, he personally destroyed this fate. If not, before Qin Wendian had a heavenly deity as his teacher, he would still have a teacher. If that was the case, he would be able to form a good relationship with the Tiandao Sacred Academy. All of you can leave now. I encountered many things in the convention. Now, I only wish for some peace and quiet. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. Yes, senior. The world overlords outside bowed and departed respectively. The spectators stared in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall, they were still reluctant to leave. The people from the Jialan clan and Xianyuan clan felt their hearts shaking. Was this the status of their realm lord today? In the entire mystic region, who wouldn't know of him?